Hi, Not Board Gamers, and welcome back to Not Board Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now, on today's very, very, very special episode, I'm joined by Drake Villareal. Is that how I pronounce it, Drake?
Everybody pronounces it different, but that's as good as any. So.
and Drake is the mastermind behind the solo mode of the upcoming Kickstarter, Endless Winter, published by Fantasia Games, designed by Stan Kordinsky, with Johnny Cantin behind on some of the development there, and art by Miko. It's a fantastic, fantastic, thematic-looking game. So that's Endless Winter, the Paleoamericans, is that right?
Yeah, Endless Winter Paleoamericans.
Paleoamericans, yeah. And that comes to Kickstarter on the 27th of October. Now, Drake's just been taking me through the solo mode, and that's what I'm going to be showing you guys in a little bit, how the solo mode plays on Tabletop Simulator. And then, you can watch me effectively lose a game of Endless Winter, the Paleoamericans. So, Drake, how long have you been involved in the project itself?
So, Endless Winter, I was brought on closer to like this late spring, I'd say. They started putting out the feelers, and they were kind of assembling their team at that point. And Johnny had been brought on for development, and we worked together a lot. We collaborated on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, even though it's not official. So he put my name in there. I did a lot of work on the Merchant's Cove solo, and we collaborate on other solo modes and stuff. So.
Yep. Were you involved in the Coloma solo mode at all then? For Johnny.
So David Turchi actually did the.
He did. Yes, yeah.
I'm not sure if you've played Coloma.
I have, yeah.
If you'd be interested, I'm working on a new solo mode that's a lot lighter and a little bit more involved with the spirit of the game, of the sort of educated guesses about where things are going to happen.
Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely interested. I think that's because I do like Coloma. I like the solo in Coloma. I think it plays very well with more people at the moment, absolutely. But I do like the solo in Coloma as it is. But I'd be really interested to have a look at that. And there you go, guys. You kind of heard it here first as well, that there is another solo mode coming for Coloma, which is just a fantastic Wild West game, obviously by Johnny Cantin. So going back to Endless Winter Paleoamericans then. So this is your second solo game for Fantasia Games after Merchant's Cove, is that correct?
So this is actually Fantasia's first game.
Oh, sorry, right, okay.
Typically I work with Final Frontier Games. I'm their head of internal development. I do freelancing outside of it as well. But as far as like solo projects goes, for Fantasia will be my first, but overall I think this will be the fifth solo mode that I'm working on now.
Excellent. And what drove you to solo modes? Why solo modes rather than other modes of games, or designing the game itself?
So most of my regular job, I've now gone full time as a designer developer. Actually, is that? But I found that even within design, solo it's an interesting little niche of design, and it's just fascinating. Like, I really like the challenge of it. I enjoy seeing how essentially you have to make an AI in a similar way to a video game would make an AI, but they get to have so much under the hood. And the thing with this design is you cannot hide anything under the hood. Every number that's pushed, everything that's tracked, there's a human doing it. And just trying to synchronize those things, like a lot of the designing I do is by challenge and by problems, like trying to solve problems or trying to accommodate challenges. And solo is just like this never-ending well of just very interesting challenges to solve. Because I even see some solo modes that come out, and I just know they could have been better. I know that if the person who was working on it had treated solo as its own sort of unique entity, as opposed to an afterthought, or as opposed to like, we got to do this because people are asking. There's some cool stuff there to learn. And I got the advantage of being able to learn a little bit, like brushing shoulders with somebody who worked with Turchi.
Okay.
So, like, Johnny and Turchi worked together on Sierra West and Coloma, and then taking what he learned from that, Johnny did the very rough outline for Merchant's Cove.
Yep.
And I jumped in there, and I just had all these ideas about how to make it smarter, how to make it faster, how to make it, all these different things.
Yep.
And just kind of found that I loved doing that. But it was a really, you're essentially designing an opponent. So it's it's the same, but it's different. So
Yeah.
I really.
I think the interesting thing is the solar market is obviously growing massively, almost exponentially all the time as well. And going back to Merchant's Cove, I know my buddy Will from Hunger Gamer really enjoys Merchant's Cove as well. I know he's played Endless Winter and thinks it's equally as fantastic as well. So it feels like you're really onto a winner here. So the game itself, Endless Winter Paleoamericans, is set in the kind of, 10,000 years ago? Is that what you said earlier? Something like that?
Yeah, near the end of the Ice Age.
Yep.
As far as they're concerned, it's part of an endless winter. But we know that there's actually it's getting a little warmer.
And the aim of the game is to try to obviously achieve as many victory points as possible by doing various actions, as we'll see in the game itself. So whether they're hunting or gathering food or making camp, there's lots and lots of actions that interconnect in this game. I think it's, from what I've seen so far and what I've played so far in the small amount I've played it, I think it's going to be an absolute winner. So as I say, it's coming to Kickstarter on the 27th of October. The link will be below the video right now. So what we'll do is we'll go into the solo version of Endless Winter, designed by Stan Kudinski, published by Fantasia Games, with a solo mode by this man here, Drake Villareal. So let's go and have a look at the solo mode. Right, okay, so here we are, guys. Here we are. This is Endless Winter by Fantasia Games with the solo mode designed by Drake Villareal, and Drake is obviously going to take me through this solo mode right now. Before we do, you'll notice this deck down here, which is the Canines deck, and this is a Kickstarter exclusive. Is that right, Drake, for backers of the Kickstarter?
It'll be a free gift exclusively, but it won't be. You'll be able to get it once the Kickstarter's passed.
Okay, fine.
But if you back, you'll be able to get it for free.
You get it for free as a Kickstarter backer, so there's no reason to not back the game on the 27th of October. Right, just a fun fact about this, guys. This is the second time that Drake and I have filmed this. I actually filmed a playthrough last week, and my computer managed to screw up about an hour and a half's worth of video. So this is the second time that I'm playing through. I can tell you that the first one, which you'll never get to see, was absolutely fantastic. I did so well on that. I actually ended up with a tie, but hopefully I can make it even better on this game. So we'll just go through a few bits on the board itself. So over here is the player board, and I'm going to play the purple player here. And you can see a couple of tracks on here. We have the food track at the top, and you can see I started on 2 food, and Drake set this all up for me initially. And this is on the starting card just here. And there are a number of starting cards that you can choose from, but Drake's chosen this one, which gives me 2 food, 1 tool, which is here. This is the area for the sacred stones, which we'll come to. These are my megaliths. These here are my camps, so I will get to put these out on the board at some point. I have 2 normal meeples and a large meeple, and we'll explain what they are as we go through. And over here, as part of my starting card, as you can see, I also take an animal as well, and that animal that I've got is going to be the ground sloth. Now, if we also look at the card, it says I've got a couple of bits here. I've got a buried card, which is this here. And on the bottom of this card, the second icon up, it does show you that there's like an idol. And if we move over to the idol track here, you can see that Drake's already moved me as a purple player 1 up on this side of the board. Now, the idle track has 2 sides of the board. There's a right and the left-hand side of the board. And Drake, just remind us what both sides of the board do.
Yes. So the right, you mentioned a minute ago about burying a card. In addition to thinning out your deck and getting rid of some of the less good cards in there, you're also going to be getting a ratio at the end of the game based on the right track and who's ahead. So if you're ahead, you're going to be getting this leftmost bonus. So if you'd buried 4 cards and you were ahead of the AI, you'd get 10 points. But if you're behind the AI and you had buried 4 cards, you'd only be getting 3 points. In a 2-player and in a solo game, this middle scoring area is ignored. So the right track is comparative for buried card scoring, and the left track is a strict conversion value. It's not relative. So if Mark was here at the end of the game, he'd be converting all of his food and tools at a 2-to-1 point ratio. so they wouldn't be wasted there.
Excellent. Okay, so that's that. And these are the food and tools that we can get here. Now over here we have the main board itself, and obviously around here there is the scoring criteria, and that's where my marker and the AI's marker is going to move around the board. And then there are kind of essentially 4 main actions that I can take. There is the initiate. There is the... Go on, remind me. Develop, that's it. There is... the migrate, and then there's a hunt action here, and the first player, either me or the AI that gets to take these actions, we'll talk about what labor is and how you get the costs, etc., gets to also take this first player action down at the bottom. So this one will give me a move upon any of the idle boards and a buried card. This one would allow me to pull a card out using my hand, and also an extra tool. This would allow me to place a camp and move a camp, and this particular action is the hunt action, and I would take a card from the top of the hunt deck there. Now, you have these sacred stones, which we'll kind of explain as the game goes on as well. But if I get the sacred stone bonus, so if I potentially took this develop action here and I moved on to the second one, and I sacrifice some food or tools, I could pick whichever one of these sacred stones I'm allowed to pick, and I'll explain how that works in a second. Put that on my board, and I get kind of end game bonuses there as well for that. Now, the game is played over 4 rounds, and you can see here that the mammoth is on the first round. For these sacred stones, I can only pick the sacred stones that the mammoth of where the mammoth is, or the ones behind it. So obviously here, if I was to pick a sacred stone, I could only pick one of these 2. If it was round 3, I could pick any of these 6 here, and round 4, it means I can pick any. So I hope that makes sense to you. And in the middle, we have an eclipse phase as well. So what else? Oh,
during the eclipse phase, there's just a little bit of jockeying for player order position, which matters a lot in this game because you explained the player bonuses here.
Yep, absolutely, and you'll see as we work through the game how that works. Now over here we have the exploration map, if you like, and this is where my camps are going to go. And if you remember over my player board, over here we have these camps which I will eventually get to put on the board, and then I will move them out, potentially move them out. And as soon as I have, say, 3 in any one in an adjoining area, so let's just get a couple of these. There's one there and one there. If I've got 3, I can then take an action to place a village. Is that what these are?
Yeah. The permanent ones, the big ones are villages, and the small ones are camps.
And if I place that village there, it's still 40. It's not liking it.
Got to lock it.
There so if I place that village there, I can then I remove the camps at that point. No, they go back to my player board, and that means I will then get the eclipse bonuses on any of the tiles of where these junctures are, basically. So there's real value in placing the villagers. However, at the moment, I don't start the game with any villagers, and I only start the game with 1 camp in the central square. And we'll explain how the AI moves his around shortly as well. So let's just move that village back to there. And also when I pick the village up, as you can see below here, it also activates certain items in the eclipse phase as well. Here we have the megalith board. And what will happen is if I take the action to place, if I get an action that allows me to take place some megaliths, then I will take these megalith tokens from my board, and I will start off with the grey ones, placing them in one of the starting areas. You can see there's 1 on each board, and you have to place them there. And then also for the first grey one, I get to place 1 after that, and I can place that in any adjacent. And then subsequent ones I get to place in adjacent areas. Obviously I couldn't place it here, but I could place it there, or I get to place it on top, and that will add me some, give me some points as well, and you get points for the ones that are underneath. Obviously, if you're placing it on here, you get the bonus that's underneath the tiles of where you're placing it. And again, that'll become more apparent, and the AI will also do a similar thing. And then here we have the hunt board. So hunting is important because you need food as a resource, so you need to go out and hunt. And Drake has populated this with 2 here, and there we have a saber-toothed tiger and also a woolly mammoth. And I will Also, there's a potential to get points for having groups of these particular animals, or I can tip the card to one side and use them for food. Then I think, down here, we have our tribe cards and our are the community cards. What were they called? Culture cards. That's it. Yeah. So tribe cards, I'm going to kind of add to my hand, and they give me additional labor actions. So if we look here, we've got the shaman. If I spend a tool, I get 2 extra labor actions. And what labor actions are is they allow me to perform some of these actions here. So I can get those, or I could get this elder, and that one has a particular, if I take out the initiate action, I get an additional labor by using that particular card. So all these have various strengths. The shaman kind of uses on any, and then the others have strengths on a particular action, which is the action above it. And then we mentioned the canine deck as well, and what the canine deck does is that does again give you additional strengths and maybe a tool or an additional item. Now down here we have culture cards, and these are all tier 1 culture cards at the moment, Drake, is that correct?
Yeah. So after the first eclipse phase, we're going to start pulling from the tier 2 culture deck. So about half the game will have these ones, and then they'll slowly upgrade to some of the more powerful ones from age 2.
So these culture cards you get to play at the beginning of your turn, and they can give you some bonuses. So for example, if I want to move a camp 3 times, or move 3 camps once, I can spend a tool, play the culture card, spend a tool, and move the camp around the board, and that will also grant me 2 victory points there at the end of the game. So they're very important, and the kind of point numbers on them are really, really important, and they become very, very useful as you play the game as well. So I think that's it in terms of what I can do, isn't it? I think, Drake, there, kind of an overview. Yeah.
One last thing is you have an action on your board.
Oh yeah, I always forget this.
The eclipse action, and what this does is we mentioned that you jockey for position during the eclipse phase. So after you've placed all 3 of your guys, no matter what, you may commit cards from your hand into this area up here, and whoever has the most labor between you and the AI, or you and other players, is going to get priority on the player turn order track, which not only has a great benefit on it, it's also going first in the turn order lets you get first crack at the things that you really want to get.
Yeah.
So when you go to the eclipse action, you'll get 2 labors during the eclipse phase, but additionally, it shows you over here that you can draw a card. So if you're kind of running low on resources, sometimes you can take this as a recharge in the middle of your turn, or if you really want to go first, you could dump a guy there to get the extra labor.
Yep.
But with the module that we're playing, the Canines module, essentially, if you go to the eclipse action, instead of drawing a card, you can take one of these canines. And there's one for each of the 4 actions. And essentially, if you play them during that action, they're going to give you labor and a tool. And then during the eclipse phase, they give you labor and points.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
okay.
Makes that action a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It could be a game changer for me, or I could get confused and actually use it as a way to lose the game. Right, so let's talk about the AI now then. So this is the AI board over here. And he's going to start with kind of the same meeples and the same camps and the megaliths, but his food and his tools are starting down at 0. This is the card that we draw from for his buried cards. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is just a deck with 2 of each tribe card in it.
Yep.
When the AI needs to bury a card, they'll just bury one of these.
Over there.
And each time they do that, it's also going to get them the point
that's on that card. Yep.
Card.
Excellent. Okay, now this is the AI cards themselves, and if you flip one over, you will see what's on here. And you can see that they have all 4 actions that are taken. All 4 actions that are on there. But pretty much like some of the like an advance on some of the kind of AIs that you've seen. Drake's come up with this really fantastic way of kind of mixing and matching the cards. So eventually I would pull out 2 cards for the AI's go. And you can see here that because there's no other goes on the board, the AI is going to take the hunt action because the arrow is over the hunt. Now, the AI will try to take the action which hasn't had first player action taken. So what will happen there is that in this case, if he can take the hunt action, but had I already taken that hunt action, then he would use the arrow here. Is that correct, Drake? Oh, sorry.
The arrows on the card just below.
The arrow on the
reason
card.
for that is that allows you to kind of read where he wants to go.
Yep.
Because now he prefers to go left. So if you swoop in and take, let's say you took the hunt action,
Yep.
what you're basically doing is making it that every card in this deck that has a hunt action on it is actually going to kick him over to migrate now.
Yeah.
So in that case, he does want to hunt, and if you're in the way, he'd go left until he found an empty space.
Yep.
Which would have been migrate in that case.
And that gives you guys gives us all kind of a fighting chance strategically on that as well, basically, so you can start to plan from that bottom card where they're going to go. Now, the other thing of note as well here is remind me on this. This eclipse card, this eclipse notice down here, or this eclipse sign down here. What happens there is he's going to move that card over one of those cards. If that's there on the bottom left of the card, I've done it again. He'll move a card over to the left, basically. And at the end of the round, at the end of the particular round, what will happen is he will count up these labor actions here on each of the cards that's been moved over to the left. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So that would be.
Yeah. So you'll see on there's points and less labor, and then some of them have no labor at all. They've just got 2 points on it.
Yep.
So the average value is about a half a labor for each card.
Yep.
In addition to whichever card is sitting out here revealed. So after the AI's 3 actions, they're going to have this revealed, plus whatever's in the face down pile to compete against your labor.
Yeah. And that will be to what I've got over here, basically, yeah. And that is how they jockey for position here and also get some points on the board. So yeah, he's when it comes down to his action here, we'll explain how that goes as we play the game. But you'll see that there's kind of a skipping mechanism takes place. So what will happen is, remind me, is the white? Is it the blue one where he starts, or yeah?
So you'll start at the blue, and then the AI's chief will move to the white, and if it moves to a spot with no camps, he'll pull a camp from the center space.
Yep.
So he'd be moving around like this, and if for some reason he had to run off the board, so let's say that he had to move down left, he's actually going to wrap around to the other side. And the AI will continue to do this. And if you see this symbol, the AI is going to try and place a village, but they're not going to place it until the very end of their action. That little red arrow means, check village at the end of everything.
Yep.
And the AI's got a few other little small things, like how it ran off the board, or if it encounters a space where it's already got a cube, it'll jump over it. Just one space though, otherwise it starts running circles. But essentially all this is to make the AI do reasonably intelligent things on this board, put a little pressure on you. And as you'll notice, the setup of this board is random. There's 9 glaciers and then 9 of the other tiles. One important thing to keep in mind is that if you want to make the game a little more unpredictable, you can create large swaths of glaciers, because at that point, either the AI is going to go towards the large swath of glaciers and waste a lot of efficiency, or the AI is going to head to where all of the bunched up good stuff is and get a ton of efficiency out of it. So it's kind of cuts both ways if you make the map a little more disparate.
Yep.
So I find that having it set up like this, reasonably kind of spread out. This was randomly done.
Yep.
But ended up being a pretty nice pattern here.
Good. And one other thing to note as well, to kind of add some variability, you can see that the megalith kind of area here is set out in this pattern. But if you look over here, you can see that there are many different ways you can set that out, and that variability adds kind of some great replayability onto the game, as well as these various starting cards here. But overall, I think that's kind of a good brief overview. You'll see the other player boards down here. They're obviously they're not in use on this particular game. So what we'll do is we'll start delving into the first action. Here we are. We're ready for the first go, and if you look over here, there is an order card, basically a turn card. So first thing I'm going to do then is I need to draw some cards into my hand. Is that correct, Trey?
Yeah. So you're going to get 5 cards at the start of each round, essentially.
Oh, I could have just put them into my into the bottom of the screen here, couldn't I? Basically. Oh. should have just done
One
that.
way to do it.
Yeah, it's the long-winded way, and I do apologise to everybody for watching me and my terrible, terrible tabletop simulator skills. So I'm just going to pull this card down here so I can just access it a little bit easier. And the first thing I can do is play up to 2 culture cards, and we spoke about the culture cards earlier. So that's these cards here. That's this one, and no, that's just that card, isn't it? Basically there. So what this allows me to do is this allows me, if I play a food, I get to add a card to my discard pile. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'll give you one small tip on this, and then mostly I'll be quiet for the rest of the thing. If you spend that now, you're essentially going to be down the food, and then the card's going to be sitting over here, not really helping.
Not doing anything. Yeah.
So that card is actually good to play towards the end of your round.
Okay.
You can get somebody seated in there, and you're also not wasting food.
At that point. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the game is that it kind of gives you a lot of stuff up front, and then it's up to you to budget it and decide when you want to spend it and when you want to cash it.
And that's it. And that's why, Drake, do not be quiet throughout this game, because I am going to need your help throughout this game. Absolutely. So then what I can do then, so I think Drake's convinced me there I'm not going to spend my culture card. I then place a figure and take an action. I've got the 2 small figures and the big figure. Now, the big figure represents my this particular chief here, doesn't he? If I'm correct. Yeah. And that gives me an additional labour, basically, onto things. So I get I get labour +1 for this guy if I use a big action. So let's have a look what I need to do first. What cards have I got? Oh, now you see, I've got this elder here. And that gives me a +1 labour action. So if I took this and I place this here, I then potentially need to pay two cards, so the labour on 2 cards, to add a card to my hand. But it doesn't go into my hand now, it goes into my hand for the next round. Is that correct? Yeah? Yeah, for the next turn. Yeah,
and as long as you get different ones, you can keep paying that 2 labour from various sources to get them.
So if I use this elder card, this gives me the labour cost up in the top corner, which is 1 labour. And it also, because I'm using it for this initiate action, I get a 2nd labour cost for that as well. So I could play this card and only play 1 card and pay for getting a card into my deck. And I think if Drake agrees, that sounds like a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, especially early in the game.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get to see a lot more of these guys.
And I get to choose one of these tribe cards here, don't I, basically, at this stage. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So, we know that...
right into your hand.
Sorry?
It will go into your hand.
It will go into my hand.
Not immediate use, but for subsequent use on this round.
So if I think about it, I don't need the elder card, that particular elder card there. I may want to craft a card. I may need to start moving camps, give me a labour. I may want to hunt to get my food up. So I'm going to potentially take this card here. And this goes into my hand now, does it? Yep.
Yeah, as long as you don't spend it. Sometimes...
I'll just put it there until after I've gone. Yep.
When you're playing with the physical copy,
yep,
you can kind of designate.
Yeah. So then that's that done. I can take that action as many times as I want, basically. So I can take that again, and I may well do that. But that doesn't give me many cards for next turn, does it? So,
right. One neat thing about this action is that it washes itself in terms of labor. So if you spend 2 labor to get this shaman, this shaman is worth between 1 and 3, or 1 or 3.
So that's what
essentially it pays for itself, and then also it gets you a little bit of points. These guys are worth it.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend these 2 of these kind of standard tribe cards here, and I'm going to take the shaman, and that goes there to go into my hand for next time. So I've already added 2 cards back into my hand there, and that's okay. And that's all I'm going to do right now. I do have the brave card. No, I don't need another shaman just yet because I've got to spend a tool, and I only have so many tools. Okay. So that's
you couldn't get another shaman anyways. You have to get
a different card. That's correct. Yeah, it's you can't get the same card each time. Okay, so then I can move down to this action here. Now, what this allows me to do is if I spend a 2, I get to bury a card, and that's effectively what I could do there. Is it's probably worth doing right now to bury a card.
You are gonna get a free burial.
Yeah, I am.
Well.
And I've only got 1 tool, and I need the tool if I want to use the shaman. So I'm not going to do that, actually. No. So I'm going to save that for next, because I do get to bury a card they do come in useful, the buried cards, the more you have for the points you score, but I'm going to potentially do that after. So I'm not going to take that action. No matter where you place it, you have to take the top action, but you don't have to take the second action. Is that correct, Drake?
Technically, you don't have to do anything. It's more that the top part is like a menu.
Yep.
You may do it as much as you want. The second part is a menu. You may do this as much as you want.
Okay.
And then this is strict.
It's what I get from it. So this is the first, the first player action that I get from there. And as you can see on there, we have an idle, so I get to move up on the idle track, and a buried card. So let's go over to the idle track to start off with, and this is here.
So basically, the AI is going to, when they gain idols, they're going to always go on the right track unless they're ahead of you. So you want to tease him a little bit to make sure that he doesn't just dump everything over here and get a lot of points. But you also don't want to just not compete at all and let him race that ahead.
So I think for this first one, I am going to go on this one here and just kind of move up and just give myself a bit of breathing space there, so we know he's got to fill these spaces before he starts, or the AI starts moving on there. And then the final one is a buried card. And to bury a card, is it the top card from my deck, or?
You can bury any card that's either in play, in your hand, or in your discard pile.
Okay.
So these cards are in play, you may bury them.
But, so I think I'll take one of these tribe cards here, and I'll bury that on top of that card there. And I've now got 2 cards in my buried card stack. And there we go. So that is my first action done. So I'm going to add these to my hand now. There we go.
Those will go over to discard.
They're over to discard there, and we go to the AI action.
So when they flip their first card, they did have a labor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, an eclipse card.
An eclipse. So we move 1 to there. Okay, because that's on there. And do we work through this first card automatically? Yeah, it's not.
This is just kind of their base.
Yeah.
Their first action will be the second card.
Right. Okay. There we go.
I don't think I shuffled these.
Okay, I'll let you. Sorry, I took over then. There we go.
It doesn't really matter because they're all random, but just because I uploaded new cards, I just want to make sure that they're not in
Fair enough.
cut order because that'll be a little weird.
So we look here. Oh, already. So this is telling the AI that they should be taking the initiate action, but I've already taken the initiate action, as you can see here. So what they're going to do is move to the left then. So they're now going to take, is that right, Drake? They're going to take the hunt action instead.
Wrap all the way around the board and hunt instead.
So they're going to take the hunt action. So we'll take one of their little figures and we'll put it on you only put it on the bottom of the first player action down there. So then we're going to follow this column here.
So this top part.
He starts at their front. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're only going to get this top part if they're the first player. So in this case, the AI is the first player. They will get the stone or the tool and the food bonus for being first.
Okay, and that's because they're allowed to put their player on there. So they will get 1 food and 1 tool. So we'll move that up on there. And this comes in and then below it, they will get yet another food card, and that's there. And then here, they take a hunt card. And with that particular icon, is this from the top of the pack they take it?
This one is...
Oh, no.
There's
a face up.
There's a question mark one that lets them draw from the deck.
That's right.
Like if you see this icon over here on the board, you'll see this icon anytime it's drawn
from the deck. Right, okay. And to do this, face up, what we're going to do is look at these 2 arrows on here. And it says that we're going to go to the far left and then the top one here. Now, there's only 2 on the board, so it's left or right. So what it's going to do is take the saber-toothed tiger, and it's going to put that in its area there. Do we automatically redraw at this point, Drake? Or
no? It'll have a scouting action on some of the books.
So then we go down. It's another card then, and as you can see here, it says bottom is lower, and the left card doesn't really matter. There's only 2 cards here basically. So that's he's scouted those 2 cards, and then this action means he then flips over 2 cards and puts it back onto the hunt board. So there we go. That's 1 there and 1.
And cards flow in from the top left, like reading style.
Yep.
So if these 3 spots had cards, you'd put 1 here first.
Yep.
To the top right.
Okay. And that's it.
Was the
That's the AI's turn gone. We've completed all of the relevant actions in this particular column. So now it's back over to me. So we go back over to my phase, and I get to... so I get to... Oh, it's until I've used all my workers, isn't it? Yeah, so I get to use my tribe cards, my culture card. Is that correct? If
you'd like to. Yeah. That is correct.
But all that does is put me a card into... it gets me... I have to pay a food. I haven't got food yet.
Yeah, I think it's kind of nice to save for
a little bit later. Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, so we're going to take... I'm not going to play a culture card. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to place a figure and take an action. So let's have a look at what I've got. I've got the Shamer, which gives me... if I pay a tool, it gives me 2 labour. I've only got 1 tool left. But if I go down here...
One of the things to consider is about the canines. Normally, when people play, if they take the Eclipse action, it'll be the last action on a turn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is necessarily a good move, but the dog gives you a reason to take the Eclipse action in the middle of your turn.
Okay.
If you went and you grabbed like the the Navigator, let's say.
Yep.
This turn, the next turn, you could use that Navigator and the Shaman because you'd have the tool. To take kind of like a big turn, so it lets you break things up a little bit.
Okay, so you see, I think what Drake's done there is actually taught me into a particular action right now. So what we're going to do is, I place this up here, don't I? Basically, yeah. There's no lock on that, is there? Yep. Okay, and then remind me what I do for this action now. So
this guy is worth 2 labor during the Eclipse phase, and you may either draw 1 card or pick a dog out of the pile.
So we're going to pick the dog out of the pile, and I think it was this one here which Drake said to go for. And that doesn't go into my hand straight away. I get to use that next turn, you say?
That goes right into your hand.
Oh, that goes right into my hand. Okay. Right, okay.
But because this action, there's not more to do on it, essentially your turn is done for this round.
Yeah, my turn is done for that round. Okay, so no labor to spend or anything like that. I've got this here.
Yeah. And that actually did a neat thing, too, because typically, if you take the third action on the board, it forces the AI to take the unselected action.
Yep.
But now, by doing this, by leaving it open, you left a little bit more variability in where the AI might go.
So it's opened up the game a little bit more for the AI. We still know that, it's potentially going to go to the left, but it could be either of these 2 actions that come out now.
Yeah, and if you think about it, there's a rolling left. So initiate and hunt and migrate will all migrate, and only craft will craft. So you've got about a 70% chance of hitting it, and he still ended up crafting. So
he's crafted. There we go. But he's got another card to shift across because that symbol there means that he moves a card across. Is that correct? And then it doesn't matter which of these icons you take. He's got the craft action because that's where the arrow's gone. And there was nobody in the first action spot there. So, because he's got first action spot, what happens here is he's going to take one of these sacred stones onto his board, and we can see that the arrow on that sacred stone card there is pointing to the right. So the only viable ones are these 2 here. So that means he's going to move that one over onto his player board, and that would go in the far left there.
And the AI is going to score a flat 6 points for each of their stones.
Right. Okay, so he scores flat 6 points for each stones, irrespective of what's on there. Okay, then we're going to move down, and we're going to look at. He's going to take a culture card now, and if you look over here at the arrows, he's going to go to the right and to the bottom. So it's these 2 rows here, and he goes to the right and the bottom. That means he's going to take that culture card there, and we just whip that up. There's only 1 card, isn't there? And does that just go here? Or?
Yeah, just there's fine.
Yeah, and that just goes there, and he will score them later on. Then he's going to take another stone. This guy is racing ahead with these stones, and he's also meant that, I don't get the opportunity to take any of these first 2 stones. So he's going to take the far right stone. It doesn't matter. There's only 1 more stone he can take, so he's going to take that stone and place that there.
you may be able to extrapolate if the AI gets more stones and more stones, they're going to run out of space. So over here on the right, the AI's got their own little hierarchy. Whenever they can't gain a bonus, they're going to go down this track looking for the next available bonus.
Yeah, and they will always be able to take one of these actions, basically, because there'd be a very rare occasion that you get right down to the bottom and is at the top of the areas at the top of both idle tracks. So
yeah, even then, you can spend extra idles to gain a point if
right
you're on top of level. So they'll always have something to do.
Something to do. And then if we go down here, the final one is going to take an idle action and also another culture card. If you look at that culture card, that's down to the bottom and to the left. So we'll get that first before we take the idle action. So if we go down here again, so down to the bottom and to the left, that means he's going to take that culture card.
Yeah, and has no VP on it. Not bad for you.
So that's good, yeah. So that one had no particular victory point. So the first bottom one had one, and then the top one had none. And then we go down to the idle track. So as Drake said, he will always try and get first in this track before he starts moving this one here. So he's going to move that up to there right now. And that is the AI's go done on this particular go.
Yep.
So now we're back to me. And I get to use my guy here, which gives me, on this cheap card, an additional labour, basically. So I get 2 labour. Oh, well, I get an additional labour for spending a labour. If I take this action as well, that means I get the labour plus a tool on my my great action. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Would you say?
Yeah, last call for culture.
Oh, culture though. I can place a culture card, can't I? Yeah, let's do that. Let's place a culture card, spend a food, and I get to add a card from here. Oh no, from there into my discard pile. Let's think about what I haven't done yet, and into my discard pile. I took one for Hunt earlier, didn't I? Yeah. I haven't used. I haven't used this yet, and I think I will. I'll take one of those cards and add that to my discard pile because I may want to use that action next round. Okay,
and they're all going to get cheaper too. So
yeah, and we'll explain as that goes at the end of this turn what happens there. So first thing I'm going to do then is I think I'm going to place my guy over here, and that means I can use this to get a move action of one of my camps. So I can move one of my camps out by using my chief action there. So I take this cube, and that's opened up my food track to be a little bit longer then, and I have to put it in the center. But then what happens here is I can spend another labor point to get more camps if I wanted, which I think I'm going to do because then I can also spend that tool to then move my camps around, or use this here to move my camps around. So if I spend this card here, as you can see on the K9 card, if I take a move action, a migrate action, which is what I've done, I get a labour and a tool of that. So let's move my tool up first of all. And that labour I'm going to spend to take a third camp onto there because I think I want a minimum of at least 3 camps on there. Okay. So now I want to think about moving these camps out because what I'd like to do is put them in a position where I can start monopolising on what we've got here. And each one of these is going to cost me a labour to move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 it's going to cost me to move there. 1, 2, yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then basically whoever has the most or tied for the most influence on these spots is going to get the bonus during the eclipse phase.
Yep.
The AI's camps are worth 1. The chief himself is worth 1. But when you build a village on the apex of all these things, it actually puts 2 influence into each of the adjoining areas.
Each of them. Okay.
And there's some good bonuses out here, like there's a couple megalith spots.
Yep.
A couple raw victory point spots.
So yeah, in this stage, he's not going to go out and get that. So this means in this first eclipse, what I could do is if I've got the influence over these particular ones here, I could get 2 food and get kind of an eclipse victory point as well, or get 2 there. So I could do 1, 2, 3, 4 to kind of maximise that. Okay, and how much labour have I got? If I spend a tool, I've got 2 there, and then I've got this guy, which would give me 4. So maybe that's what I'm going to do.
Shaman gives you 3.
Shaman
He's worth 1.
Oh yeah, one at the top, and then that's right. Then I spend a tool to get 2 more. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. So let's spend a shaman first. Yeah. Okay. And we'll move 1 out to start off with. And then if I spend a tool, I get 2 more because of that labour on there. So I could move that to there and that to there. And you can see how this is working now. There's a real strategy here. Now, I could spend this brave, but I could also hold him on for next go as well, because... actually, no, because I can get 2 more points there if I move him there.
You've also got food.
Sorry?
You want to spend 1.
Oh, yeah, you can spend food for labour as well. I'm going to get 2 food back. No. I think I'm going to spend this brave, and I'm going to move mine to there, because I'm going to start racking up these victory points at the eclipse phase. And I think for this go, that is me now done there. So let's move these guys over into my discard, and then we'll go and do the AI.
Yeah. So this action.
Oh yeah.
You could have made a village. Which you wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do. I needed 3 food. And I forgot. I get the first player action, which allows me to pull more camps out as well. So
yeah, 1 more place and 1 more move. So
1 more place and 1 more move. So I may as well place 1, obviously, which is there, which is going to get my camp out. The extra move at this stage doesn't do anything for me.
It could give you an idol.
It could give me an idol, couldn't it? Yeah. So let's do that, actually, yeah. Let's move that down there. Yep, there we go. Doesn't do anything up here, but it does stuff in the eclipse. So in this coming eclipse phase, I'm going to get 2 food, I'm going to get 3 victory points, and 1 move on the idol track. That's not bad, that, for that go. And of course, we know that...
Assuming the AI doesn't take the action and,
Yeah, he could put his influence on there, but we'll see what happens. One thing that's not going to happen is he's not going to get first player action now. So if we take him and we flip that over, and again, we've got this little symbol here, so that means a card moves across. And then he is going to take the migrate action. Okay. However, he's not going to take first player. So there's nowhere else for him to go on the board. All 4 spaces are full. So the arrows where he can move to are irrelevant now. So we will just put him on...
And in this case, the AI will do things that it hasn't done. So if it had pointed to this action, the AI would have gone to either initiate or migrate, depending on the arrows.
Okay, but because it hadn't done this, it will always choose an action it hasn't done.
Right.
Because it hadn't done this...
Done, then it's up.
So if we go down here then, so it's not going to get this move, this megalith move above this line because it's not got the first player. So the next thing it's going to do is it's going to take the action here, which is to move the chief around. And as we can see, it's going to start where the blue is and move to those 2 white. So he will always drag 1, 2. Oh, there we go. So he's going to drag that there and drag that there. And what he's got now is influence over these 2 victory points. The bugger. Okay. Then we move down, and as you can see, he's going to move from the blue 1 square down onto the white here. So he's going to take that there and move that camp there, but there's nothing to have influence over there. Then he's going to try and place a camp, but it doesn't do that until the end of his go. So we're okay there. The third one is he's going to move again from that blue to that white. Now he's going to wrap around the board here. So does that mean he will go here? Yep. Here. And he will take another one of his camps from there. And then he's going to take this action and this action here. So he's going to go 1, 2. He only has 1 camp left to take. So that's there, and he's got influence there.
So there's something that AI does is if they move into a spot and there's no camps in the center of the board, he will first try to pull camps off of glaciers.
Okay.
Camps on glaciers. And he'll pull away from the furthest away one. So in this case, this gets nuked or pulled on over.
See, that's intelligent. That's good design. Rather than just leaving them there and him then potentially going aimlessly around the board, what's happening now is he's obviously pulling the camps towards him as well. So we're now going to go back to this action here, which is where he will try and place a village. Now on my turn,
the AI doesn't need 3.
Yeah.
The AI doesn't need a triad. The AI just needs 2, and they'll look for the nodes.
Yep.
thereupon.
So we've
So
also
the
got them
card-
over here as well. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's multiple spots where the AI could place a camp.
Yep.
So in this case, we'll go to the card that tells you to place a camp, and then use the arrows to break a tie.
So it's
So
the
the furthest right spot.
furthest right spot, which is going to be this one here, basically. So we'll take
Yep.
one of his, and we'll put it into that spot. Is that not the furthest right? Yeah, sorry, that is. There's no node there. And does he then remove those back to his board then? Basically?
Yeah. So then, when he places a village, all influence goes back to the center, including himself. 'Cause he's
Okay.
influence. Now, if he was sitting over here when the camp was built, he'd stay over here.
Yeah.
But because the village was built where he is, he gets pulled back.
And as you can see, that's opening him up for his next go where he can do stuff, but it's also giving him influence in these areas. And we'll come on to the tide area here as we go through into the eclipse phase as well. And that's it. We've gone through all of his particular go now, basically. So we've run through that entirety of that column. So if you look on the board now...
Yeah, so if you have cards you want to put into your eclipse pile, now's the time.
right, okay.
You've got 2 labor going into your eclipse pile, and the AI's got a half a labor from the card up here.
Right.
Plus 3 more cards. And each card has an average value of a half. So
chances are he's not going to win me. And if I put this card into
but
my...
if he ties you,
Yeah.
he is gonna usurp you because ties are broken on the bottom.
On the bottom there. So maybe I'll just... so it's this card here I put into my eclipse pile, is that correct? The one from my hand, yeah? So let's...
And that would actually also give you his eclipse bonus, which is pretty good.
Which is good, yeah. So there we go. So now, explain the eclipse then now. So the marker moves on to the eclipse now, yeah?
Yeah, so in a multiplayer game, people would be committing all these cards face down, so there's some mystery about who's going to win. But essentially, you don't have to put that face down, which you didn't, because the AI is, you are the AI.
Yeah.
So it looks like the AI is rocking a total of 2 labor and 2 points.
I just want to point that out to people. So we got half a labor on this top card here. These are the cards we pulled out onto the side here. So there's half a labor there, a full labor there, and half a labor there. And then we have this, which is 2 points at the eclipse as well. So, yeah. So we can Drake's going to move his marker, and he's off the mark there. Now.
And then you've got 3. So
I've got 3 because I get these 2 here and that one up there, which gives me 3. So that keeps me in the top move there. And I'll explain what happens in a sec. And then there's also an eclipse bonus as well. And that eclipse bonus means I get 2 food.
Yeah, so we'll do those all in, there's like an order.
Okay, sorry. Yep.
No worries. So the first thing is the turn order track.
Yep. And then
so
the player board goes at the back end of this, don't you? Is that what you said last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's it'll be track, and then your cards, and then the map, and then your player board.
Excellent. Okay. So track we've done. We know that I'm there. I had more labour, so I go first, and that means I get to take one of these bonuses. Now, with me being at the top, what this means is I can take that top bonus or any of those underneath that I want to. I think I am going to take.
That applies to all games.
Sorry.
That applies to all games. So
Yeah.
at any point you ever gain one, you could trade it down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use the megalith bonus. And it's not a monolith, it's a megalith. Just to get onto this board. So I get to choose one of these starting here. Either here, 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 or here. And let's think about what I may need. I'm kind of low on food, but I am going to get some food in my eclipse action and also on my over here for the area I control. I am low on tools. I'm not necessarily worried about burying a card just yet. So I think, or I could draw a card into my hand. No, I think I'm going to get some tools. So I'll put this here. That's the first megalith. And with the grey ones, start off with, I also get to place my second one at an adjacency.
Yeah, and it's not because of the grey megaliths, it's because of these starting spots.
The starting spots.
So on a subsequent turn, if you put a purple one there, you could drop another purple one immediately next to it.
So I get to open this up here now, which means I get one of these here. It doesn't really matter. It only matters for the next turn.
Although, yeah, it lets you backdoor into the special.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do this because I don't want to. No, I'm going to do this because I may want to open up some idle actions for me there. And that gives me an additional 2. which is good. Yeah. So that was that action there. He doesn't get to take one of these actions, does he, basically, from him? No.
Correct. All he's going to do is reset his cards and then score his map.
Okay. So now we move on to the cards. Sorry, yeah. So that's these here.
That is correct.
Yeah, and all I've got is one card there. And as you can see, that Eclipse bonus at the bottom gives me, I get to put camp down and get 2 food. So let's just add the food, 1, 2. And I get to put my final camp in the middle there. Still nothing on the AI yet. Yep.
Can score the map.
I can score the map now. So if we look at the areas I got control over, where I got most influence, up at the top here.
Yeah, and it's friendly. Ties are friendly, so if you're tied, you also get the bonus.
Excellent. So here I get 2 food, which is great. So that's going to have me another 2. 1, 2. So I've got a nice amount of food, and I'm going to get 1, 2, 3 victory points here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm also going to get, excuse me, an idle bonus for the influence over this one here. And I'm still 1 ahead at the moment. I'm okay on that. So I think I'm going to start moving up here because I want to start getting some points for any kind of leftover food or tools I have at the end of it as well. And that's my terrain done there, isn't it? Yeah. 3 victory points, 2 food, and 1 idle. So that's me done. However, we are now going to score the AI here. So let's start over on the left here. He's going to get his 2 victory points because he shares this here, so we both get those. So Drake will move that. Move here, there's nothing to have influence over here. Neither is in the middle here, and neither is there at the bottom. However, because he's got a village here, he has influence over these 3. So first of all, he's going to get 2 food onto here. 1, 2. And then he's also going to take a megalith action.
Yeah. So if he takes a megalith here, he's actually going to reference his most recent card for placement.
There we go. So his megalith is going to take him to the top right card. And here we go. And
so we put this token up here to kind of designate which of these boards is north. It could have gone over here. You could really put it on whichever one of these that you want.
Yep.
But the AI does need a board to be north.
Yep.
So there's a place in the legal spot, which is just there.
Yep.
And the AI does not receive bonuses for placing, so he doesn't place another thing.
Right, okay, fine. So that's it. He only places 1 there, but he's already started off on that. So he's got his 2 food. He's got his megalith. That's it. That's the AI's score done there. Is that correct? Yep.
It is.
So we're now going to re-put all his cards back into his deck. We're going to shuffle the deck and start on to round 2. But as you can see on round 2, what we've done now is we've now opened up, obviously, the second set of Sacred Stones. Now, because of the turn order, I still go first, so that's good. And
the other 2 things that we do, the other few things that we do, is in addition to moving the mammoth each turn, is we'll check the animals to make sure that there's at least player count number. So there's 2 animals, we leave those alone.
Yep.
Down here, these
cards, I forgot about these. Yeah.
We're going to put a labor onto each card that was left out, and these cards are going to cost 1 less labor. So now they each cost 2 if you want them. So it's a better opportunity to get like a big labor action. And we'll put out 2 more cards from Era 1. Now, for the rest of the game, when we refill, cards that have labor on them are going to get burned and destroyed. And we're going to start refilling from the Era 2 deck, which has more powerful cards.
There we go. And so if I want any of these culture cards, I have to get them on with the labor on them. I have to get them on this next go. Okay, so it's not gone bad so far. There's one victory point ahead. I'm not too worried where we are in victory point scale. So do I draw 5 cards to my hand then now again? Yep.
Correct. Yeah, each turn you'll draw 5.
Okay, so let's put them all into my hand. Oh, do it again. Go. I am so rubbish at Tabletop Simulator. I do apologise. There we go. And shuffle that. So that's the 5th one coming into my hand. Obviously, if I'd got any cards left over from last round, I would then add them so your hand can actually grow to more than 5. Is that correct? You don't discard down, do you?
Yeah, in the later rounds, you might end up with 8, 9, 10 cards when the round starts.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are. We are now ready for me to go first. All this has been cleared. We're on to round 2. Open up those victory stones, and first thing I can do is play up to 2 culture cards. Now, if you look down in my deck, I've only got 1 culture card.
The AI is threatening to go right this turn.
Oh, sorry, yes. Always have a look up here at the AI, and as you can see, he's threatening to go right. So if I choose an action, and the AI then chooses that same action, he will then move to the one to the right. So, yeah. He's going to try and get migrate. Oh, no, he's not. It depends on the next card. Bring it out. Right, okay. So, first thing I could do is I could pay a tool and get a megalith action. I think I'll wait a little bit.
Wait for just a moment. I believe you've got a handle on things here. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, I'm going to wait for my megalith action, my altar action. I'm going to take my guy. What go haven't I done yet? I've got a culture cards there. Which I could get one of these half-price culture cards. That would only cost me 2. And as you can see, that would allow me to do stuff. I could spend it food to get... Yeah, in fact, that's what we will do. Okay. So we are going to spend... we're going to move my guy onto there. That's good. And we're going to spend my brave up here. And I'm going to spend 2 culture because I'm going to choose one of these cards that's got labour on it. So ordinarily I would spend 3 labour to get a culture card. I'm only going to spend 2. My brave has got 2. And I'm going to choose this particular card here. Okay, so that goes into my hand for next time. I know next go I can spend a food and get loads of tools. Okay, do I want to buy any more while things are going cheap? It's a possibility, but I'd have to spend 2 more cards, and it doesn't really give me much for next time. What have we got? Tool to move, camp, food to hunt and get a tool, tool to get another tribe card. Are there to hunt? No, we're okay for now. Okay. Yeah, do I want to spend... Yeah. So, I bought a culture card, which is fine. I've got one of the cheap cut price culture cards. I think that's all I'm going to do on this turn. So I'm going to move this guy down here. Now, just remind me on here, how much food or tool do I have to spend to get one of these stones?
The leftmost on your board.
Oh, sorry, that's right. Yeah. So there we go. It's one food and 1 tool. So if I do that,
you do have a bunch of extra food.
Yeah.
If you don't have it,
I could do for labour. Of course, I could. So let's just move that back. I keep forgetting, and Drake did remind me last time I played this. I'm going to move that back up there. I can use food to spend as labour points as long as I have these labour identifiers on them here. So I'm going to spend one of my tribe cards, 1 food, and I'm going to get another culture card.
This one's cool to pull off the deck and then hunt. This one's cool because it lets you do just a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, this one's really good too. It's 2 points and once you get tribe cards in hand. So
I'm going to spend that for 2 points.
Really good.
Yeah, I'm going to use that one there and get that because I like the idea of having a couple of victory points from the back end of it. So that's okay. So
you've got something kind of cool going with it where you've got a way to get tools and you've also got places to spend tools.
So just reminding people what I said is I can spend food for labour, and that's what I just did in that action. So now let's drop this down again, and if I go to the left part of my board, it says I can spend 1 food and 1 tool to get to bury a card and to get a stone. So let's do that. 1 food, 1 tool, and I can choose one of these cards. So this gives me 1 victory point for every culture card I've got, and this gives me
point for influence over these gold areas. So right now you've got 1 influence on a gold area. Right,
okay. And as you can see, that would give me 3 victory points. But I've got a feeling this could get me more there. But if I don't take it, he could. No, I'm going to take that one, I think. And I'm going to put that there. But I also get to bury a card at the same time. Is that correct?
That is. So,
nope. Sorry. No, not those. Yeah, it's these guys here. And I'll just bury a standard little tribe card there. Oops, all the way around. And flip, and that's that. Then I'm...
at the top of the screen, there's a degrees thing. I usually change it to 45.
Right, okay. Here we go. Thank you. And then I get to take my final first player action, which is to pull a card out from my deck and also get a tool back as well. Let's get the tool back. And then this, does it go into my hand straight away, or it doesn't really matter? Yep. Yeah. They're all going to come into my hand now, aren't they, anyway? So yeah. Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, so that's my go done, and as you can see, I've got 6 cards to start next go, so you can see the power starting to build up. However, we have our kind of our AI here. Drake's already moved a card across because he's got the symbol there. Take the next card, flip that over. No symbol on this card, so it's not another card to pull over. And he's going to take the... Is it devotion? You say this one is action.
Develop.
Develop, that's it. So he's going to take the develop action. He's not going to take the develop action because I've taken develop, which is good. So we said earlier, he's going to go right, which means he's going to take the migrate action. So we look at this arrow here, and if he can't take the first player action on that one, he will follow this arrow, and he's going to go to the right, which means he's going to take the migrate action. So we'll put him on the migrate action just there. Now, he does have first player on this because he is the first one to put it, so he's going to take a megalith. And if we go to the megalith, we follow... Is it these arrows here, Drake, or...?
Correct.
Yeah, these arrows is going to go left and top on his megalith action.
So if the AI is placing a colored thing, they always prefer to go up.
Right.
They won't place gray on the second level.
Okay.
So if he's placing orange, he'd actually place it here. But because it's not orange, he's going to place it on the ground level.
Okay.
So in this case, there's a tie on the left board. So you'll go to the thing that is the highest. So that's the highest tide space.
Okay.
Or the northern tide space.
The most northern. Okay. There we go. So he's placed a megalith there, but remember he doesn't get the bonus actions. However, he's going to try and build up as we move forward now. That's his megalith done. Okay, so now we're going to go down onto here, and you can see that the chief is going to start moving around and spreading camp again. So he's going to go up one, and then to the left. So first thing he's going to do is go there, do that. Second thing is go there and do that. And as you can see, they now have more influence. If the chief wasn't to move again, would have more influence than I have on there, but they are going to move again. We're going to move down here, and we're going to move down one. So move that from there. And as Drake said earlier, we'll take the furthest away glacier and put that on that square. So that one is going to move to there. Then he's going to move up. And if that's the case, that would be to there, basically. And he's going to take the furthest away glacier. So that's the one he's just placed.
Yep.
And pull that on there. So that's his go. That's the AI's go done for there, and that's not too bad. He's spread his influence around a little bit. He's kind of double it up on here, but he's got in on my food action up here as well. Okay, so back over to my turn.
Yeah, that could have gone worse.
Yeah, it could have gone worse. Yeah. Back to my turn. I can place any culture cards I want to place, and as we know, I kind of did all right with the culture cards. So let's think about what I might want to do. I think, first of all, I could spend a food to get some tools. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3. Spend a food to get some tools, and that gives me 3 tools. 1, 2, 3. Now my tools are at capacity now. So I may as well spend a tool to get one of these cards down here. So I think I shall spend a tool. Put that down, and that takes me one of these cards here. Let's think about what actions I might want to take. My food. What's my food like? So I could bury a card again, or I could hunt. I think I'm going to hunt. So
it's definitely a space to hunt. So.
Yeah, and that goes into my hand for next round, doesn't it? Basically, that. Yep. So.
No, that goes into your hand immediately.
Immediately. Sorry. There we go. Right. So I think we're going to go and hunt then. Or do I want to take an eclipse action? Get another one of these doggos into my hand.
Yeah, so it sort of depends if you have a phase 2, like if you're planning to hunt and then go to the map, or if you're planning to just hunt and then let it ride the next turn, or
I think I'd
that's part of the budgeting, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll hunt and go to the map. Let's do that. So that means I would take an eclipse action. Oh, God, I've done that again. There we go.
Wait, if you want to hunt and go to the map, you gotta hunt first and then map
Sorry,
second.
you're right.
You
Yeah, I've got to hunt. I'm going to hunt. No, let's just hunt. Okay, so there we go. And here we go. I get to have a look here, and the first thing I can do is spend a labour to flip a couple of cards over, basically. If I want to do that. We may as well. Let's open up this hunt. So we'll spend a tribe. I could spend food, remember. And we'll flip 2 cards. So 1, 2. Board is
one cool thing about hunting is if you're planning on hunting enough things and eating them, it's almost always worth spending all your food, because it will pay itself back.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's an interconnected mechanism there that absolutely works. So,
this sacred stone here,
yep.
It gives you 3 points per red guy that you've hunted.
Right, okay.
So if you decide you want to hunt red guys, that's one thing you can kind of aim for.
But as you can see, I've got a ground sloth, and at the bottom here of the ground sloth, I get a victory point for every uneaten ground sloth I collected. So therefore, if I got 2, I get 3 victory points at the end of the game. So if I move that into my tile now, so if I kind of then spent 2 victory points, 2 labour, I could move this across here. So let's have a look. So if I spend this guy, if I spend this guy, it gives me a labour, but also because I'm taking a hunt action, it also gives me another labour for hunt. So I could take one of these guys here, and I can take any of these guys basically. So I'm going to take this guy, and that's 1 done there. So I've got 2 of those guys. But I also want to get my food up as much as possible as well. So if I spend another... I would have to spend both my labour here to do that, wouldn't I, basically? Yeah. So I can't do that again.
Right, but spending your food is worth it.
That's true. Sorry, I'm going to get my food up. So I could spend 1 there, spend that there, so that's 2 labour. I could then take another one of these guys.
If you want to also, if you spend 1 to flip cards and there's a mammoth, if you find a mammoth, the mammoth will fill up your food truck completely.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But it's risky.
It's risky. I'm going to take what I know, because I'm going to get 5 food off the back end of it anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this saber-toothed tiger, and the reason for that is he's already got one there, so I want to try and reduce the chances of him getting a set of saber-toothed tigers. So I'm going to take that there. Then we move down onto this action, and if I turn my card over to the and flip it to the side, I will get 5 food. But of course, that doesn't count if I'm collecting sets there. So let's do that. Let's flip that over.
And that's what the sacred stones do.
Yeah.
The ones that tell you to hunt.
So there we go. And I'm going to get 5 food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's there.
If you don't mind, really quick on the food track, something to point out here is going from 6 to 5 food doesn't have a labor. So if Mark wanted to spend a labor on a subsequent action, you'd have to go all the way to 4. So that's why some of those cards that, like, the hand drills, spending a food there would be efficient because you wouldn't be losing a labor. So there's some little things there to keep in mind.
And that's these items here. So you've got to go over one of those to actually spend a labor. So as Drake said, it's perfectly viable to spend 2 food to get 1 labor, depending on where you are on the food track. But that's good. That's built my food up there. And the final thing here, I can do that as many times as I want, but I only want to do it on 1 card because I'm collecting that set of greens. And the final one here is the card with a question mark, and I take that from the top of the deck, do I, Drake?
Yep, that is correct.
And that's my card, is it, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Good, that's cool.
And this is a good card to have.
This counts for any set. So if you only end up with the 2 sloths, you combine them and he's worth the 3rd sloth.
And that would give me an extra 3 points at that point, which could come in handy at the end of the game. Okay, so that's my go done there. That's not a bad round. We'll just move those cards over to my discard pile. Yeah. And we shall move his card up, flip it over. Again, no eclipse symbols, so there's nothing to move over here. And he's going to go into the hunt column, which he cannot do. And we know he's going to go right, so he's going to go over here to, well, there's only one action you've got to take him, really, basically, which is just going to be the develop action. So we'll put him on the final space there. So he's going to take... Yep. This
Initiate.
Initiate, sorry. Yeah. Initiate. And the first thing he's got here is one of these symbols on the initiate, so he's going to move a card across because he's taking the first player action on there. Then he's going to take a megalith and he's going to move to the rightmost card and the bottom space on the megalith. And here's where this is here. So if that was north, that's this card here. Is that correct?
The right is, yes, that one.
It's this card, and he would take that action there. He would do the starting action. Then he's going to take an idle. Well, if you look at this, he's got 2 idle actions to take. So we go down to the board. What he's going to try and do is get first place. And there is a mechanism here. It's whoever arrives first is in first place. Is that correct, Drake?
Yes.
So he would do that and then that and overtake me, yeah? For his 2 idle actions. Yep, excellent. Then he's got another megalith action, and it's to the left. It's the left and the upper on that. So that's this card here. And he will take an upper action, basically. So he would place that there?
Correct. The AI always prefers to place as high as possible first. And then there's 2 spaces where you can place, and you broke the tie correctly by going up.
There. Okay. And then finally, he's going to bury a card. So he's going to take one of these cards. It's the first time he's done this. Flip that over, and that goes to his buried card pile just there. And that'll end him. Score end of game points for him. Yeah. So he's actually not done too bad on that round. He's starting to come back a little bit now. He's starting to build up his megalith points. Okay, so I'm going to draw 5 cards back into my hand. Remind me on this.
Not yet.
Oh.
You still have one more action.
I still have one more action. Of course I do. I keep forgetting. And he's got one more action. Thank you for reminding me. Now, of course, on this, I can't take any of these actions here. What I can do is I could put that into an eclipse action.
You can't take them...
Oh, sorry, for the first player. I can't get the first player, yeah.
If you want to put out camps, like, you have enough food and influence to...
Yeah, this is true. So let's do that, actually.
Or village, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to put a village out. I'm going to have to move to build a village out, aren't I? So, yeah, okay, let's do that. I've got all my camps out. So this gives me 2 labour here. It gives me a labour already, so I could just, kind of use that card and move 1 camp, basically. And if I have a look at where all my camps are, they're all here, but I don't have a conjunction of 3. What do I need to... I need to spend 3 food. I've got the food to do that. Okay, so let's have a look here. That's a develop. That's a megalith action. It looks like I'm going to have to spend either a card or a food to create an area where I've got most influence. So if I move that onto there, I would get a victory point.
One of these 2 spots kind of does the
similar thing. Yeah, this gives me the victory points. That gives me the food and the victory points. I think what I'll do... And this is where this issue happens with food that Drake mentioned. I've got to move 2 to actually use that as a labour. But I'm going to get 2 food.
In this case, it's not so bad, though, because...
I'm going to get 2 food back if I put it there. So let's do that. We'll do 1, 2, and move that down there. And I'll move that there. And that's that particular one.
You don't need to spend any food to do that. You have a chief?
I have a chief. Of course I do. Sorry, yes. That's there. Okay. The food comes down to spending it for this here, doesn't it, basically? Yeah.
And then if there's any other little positioning you want to do, but it seems like...
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. So then we'll move that down to there, and as you can see on this here, there's spend 3 food, and I can then replace these with a village, which gives me 2 influence on any. So let's do that. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Take my first village off the left here, and I'm going to place it on the node just there. There we go. And these guys are going to go back to my board. What they do is obviously fill up your food track, so you can't have as much food. And there we go. I've now got influence over there, so that's that action done. I could also spend 3 food.
And you've now revealed an extra card during the eclipse phase.
During the eclipse phase. Now, if I had another 3 of these, which I suppose you could you mathematically have them set? So no, because when you place the camp, it moves one of them out of the way, doesn't it? Basically, so you're never going to be able to place 2 villages at the same time.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all I can really do on that turn. That's my go done, which is not a bad go.
And because this is your third action.
Yep.
Now is the time before the AI takes their turn that you would dump things into your
Eclipse pile.
If you're trying to compete or if you're trying to gain the actions on them.
Yeah. And in
I will let you know that the AI has 2 cards already, so they could be getting even more.
Yeah. So if we look here, this is the only one that gives me anything. This card is the only one that gives me anything, isn't it, in this action, basically? This culture card doesn't do anything.
It gives you... culture cards can be played for half a labor if you feel like it, but they're also good to save. So
yeah.
Because
come over to next go. Yeah, I'll keep that. I'll just leave that as is, basically. So that's them done.
By the way,
yep.
You could have played that card if you wanted to.
At the beginning, yeah, I realise that now. But, no baxes. I'll keep it for the next round. I'm okay. I've still got some tools. So, yeah, well, I've got tools and I can do the megalith action next time. So, let's flip the final card on this round. Here we go. We've got an eclipse action on that card, so it's going to be another card moved over to there. And he's going to go into the migrate action. Now, that's not going to happen. He's already taken that. So we look here. This means he's going to go on to hunt because he hasn't taken the hunt action. Sorry, this one. Sorry, yeah.
It's always the last card below.
The last card below. So he's going to go on to the hunt action here. So we'll follow these actions here. Now, he can't take the one above the line because he's not got the first player action there. So we'll move down. The first one is this here, and he's going to take a card from the deck, and it's going to be the top left card on the hunt deck. Oh, should we...
top.
Sorry?
He prefers top first.
Top
and
first.
If there's a tie, he goes
right.
next.
So there we go. That's that card there. It's still not built up any kind of any set, but that could change. Then he's going to flip 2 cards. So we'll take a card, Drake. So it's kind of reading order. Move them left to right there. Then we move down, and he's going to take the bottom right card.
The right mode first.
The right mode card first. Sorry, there we go. I keep forgetting that. And it's that woolly rhino. So still doesn't have a set of anything here. It's just okay. Then he's going to flip 2 more cards. So we shall do that. 1, flip 2. Oops.
Oh, that card went flying.
Yeah. So that's those 2 actions done. Then he's going to get a food. That's there. Then he's got this card here, which means he's going to take the top card from the deck. Let's go. Oh, and there we go. He's starting to build up his sets now. So he's got a Glyptodon there. Then he's going to take this card here, which is the top card, and then to the right. So we can see the arrows here. So it's up here. He's going to take a ground sloth. Man, he's doing all the hunting. And then finally, fill up the track with 2 more cards. So 1 there. Flip.
He's very generous with his scouting for you.
Yeah, that's very good. It's opening it up for me when I want to hunt, but unfortunately, it's giving him quite a few cards to go out there, which makes it easier for him to build sets.
But in subsequent turns, if he gets to hunt, it could be pretty good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the end of both mine and the AI's go now. So we'll move on to the Eclipse phase here.
You might have to beat him. You've got 3 cards plus no labor from this.
So if we go through this in action again, the first one is this turn order track. So this is where we compare. It's compare labor. So we're looking here. We've got 1.5. He's got 2.
Yep. So.
And I've got
2 total. That puts him ahead.
Yeah, that puts him ahead.
And it's 3 points.
Okay. And that means he goes. Oops. He goes up there, and I go there, basically. Yep.
And then all the AI is going to do is score the map. So he's going to get 2 points, 2 food, and a megalith placed onto the northern board.
Onto the northern board, which is up here, and which
he's going to break tile left.
So that's going to go there. Okay. We said 2 food.
2 food, yes, and then 2 points, which I'll go ahead and give him.
Okay. So that's in there.
That's all his.
That's the AI scored. Then we go over to me. So
turn order.
Turn order. So I get to take a card from this here into my hand. Is it into my hand? Yeah, or into my it's into my hand, isn't it? That.
Here.
So there we go. Oh, got a canine card. Nice. I could have taken any of these actions, obviously below that card there, but I'm okay with that. Then we got Eclipse Pile Tribe cards. So that's these actions here, then, is it?
Yes.
So I get to get 2 tools, basically, from my Eclipse. I can only get 1. That's okay.
And the other one turns into a food.
It turns into a food. Fantastic. There we go.
Because the pick down chart there.
And that goes into my discard pile. Then terrain tiles. So over here. So look at the shadow influence. So first of all, I've got the most here. So I'm going to get 2 food. I'm going to get 3 victory points because 1 for there and 2 for there. So that gives me 6 on that and 2 food as well. So my food track's filling up nicely. And you can see the engine starting to work now. And I'm also going to get an idle point for this here. So if we go down here, he's slightly ahead of me on this. So what I want to do is I want to give him a run for his money. Still puts him in first place on this particular idle track because he reached the 3rd part first before me. But I'm starting to kind of build up now. He's going to have to move ahead on that track before he starts moving down here. So that's it in terms of my scoring, isn't it, Drake? I think.
Yeah, and then you'll get your player board. So
my player board bonus here. Yeah. So this is another card into my hand. There we go. Yep.
When the new round starts, so if you just hover over your deck and hit 4, you'll get 4 cards out of it. And then you'll
shuffle that, and then hover over that and press 1.
Yeah. And I usually hit R to shuffle.
Right, okay.
I can shake it, but...
So you guys, not only are we teaching you how to play Endless Winter, you're also building up on your tabletop simulator skills as well, because, trust me, I need it. Right, so there's a few things that are going to happen now before we start the round. So first of all, we're going to move the mammoth onto the 3 phase, but that doesn't mean we start the round because we've got these cards down here, these culture cards, which have all got a coin on them. These are all going to get discarded now. That's correct, isn't it, Drake?
Yep, and then the ones without the labor are going to get a labor.
Yep.
And then everything else is going to... Did I do that right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, there are only 2 there. Yep. So then so that's because we passed. If we look up here on this board, while Drake pulls those out, we've got over this particular symbol here, the kind of leather-looking symbol with a 2 on it. That means we're pulling second-tier culture cards out now. These have more victory points and they're slightly more powerful. Some of the artwork on this is still in development, and that's why it's line work on there. So, of course, the game is still in development. But you can see it being a little bit more powerful right now. And that's good.
Yeah. Some of these things are quite strong. Actually, everything in the Tier 2 deck is good. I really like Hunting Expedition just because it lets you get animals outside of hunting.
Yep.
But only, again, if that folds into your strategy. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And as you've noticed down here, I pulled 5 cards into my deck. I already had cards. As I mentioned earlier, the engine building is really, really important on this. My hand is starting to look a lot stronger. I can suddenly start to do a lot more each and every turn as we move into this second part of the game here. However, I do not get first go. Because our friend over here gets first go. So, final thing, just remember, is I've moved on to round 3 here, and that makes all of these stones available now. So any stones that are passed and the 2 that are here. Okay, so first thing is he's got his symbol here, which means he pulls a card over. And the next thing he does is flip that over and we put that to the top. And he's going to take remind me what it is. Initiate action? Initiate action. And it's a first player action, so he's going to go down here. The next thing he's going to do on that, because he's got first player action, is he's going to pull yet another card over into his pile here, which adds up his labour scores and his points for the Eclipse phase, because that symbol is there. Then he's going to take a megalith action, so we're going to take another one of these, and he's going to move to the bottom board, which is going to be this one here, So he can only go onto that phase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. There we go. He can only go there. Then he's going to bury a card. That's that symbol. So we take one of these cards here, flip it, and bury that. He's going to take another food, which is there. And then finally, he's going to bury another card. So that's that there, and flip. And what we'll notice as we go through this kind of third and fourth round is, as Drake mentioned, we're going to start running out of viable options, and that's where this flowchart comes into play, because we'll start moving down the kind of the track of available options for the AI at that point. Right, over to my go. Okay, so we can play some culture cards if necessary.
And he's starting to go right. So at this point, he's a little overloaded, wanting to hit this spot.
Right, okay. So yeah, so if he picked this action, he would go there. If he picked that action, he would also go there, basically, if that came out in his next go.
If you take the hunt action from him.
If I take the hunt action, sorry, yes. Yeah. So if I take that, and then he would be Phil. I'm not going to take the hunt action, though.
Or if you take develop, it'll double kick him over to migrate, so it'll be 75-25.
Absolutely.
I like it. I like the system just because you can kind of sort of push your luck and try to nudge him around, but ultimately you can't stop it from doing anything.
So if you look here, kind of at my altar cards, culture cards, I can play two culture cards. I could play a food and add a card into my discard pile, or I could pay a food and get some tools, which I don't need to do because I'm already up there on food, or I could play a tool and get a megalith as well, which I think I might do because I'm okay on tools at the moment. So if I place that card, take that down there, take one of my megaliths, and I get to place it wherever I want to on here, basically. So I could effectively get 2 tools back, which I don't need. I could get 2 idle actions. I could get 2 cards. I could get 2 cards. I could get a card down here. Yeah. Are you
that card.
Yeah.
Just the
yeah. Or I could get 2 food or 2 idle actions. I think I'm going to take the idle actions, so I'm going to do that there. So what this allows me to do is move ahead on that. That's 1 idle action, and also move up on this, because I want to get potentially to a situation where I've got food left at the end. I start to score points. So that's one of my culture cards. I can also place another culture card. I think I'll do that. So if I play a food, which is there, and that's good because that then moves me down, because I was on 6. If I wanted to use food to pay for labour, I would have had to spend 2, so I may as well spend that food to then take... Is it a tribe card to put into my discard pile? Sorry.
That is correct.
Yeah, one of these cards to put into my discard pile. I think...
if you see this card, it won't be till next year.
Yeah.
You might not even see it.
So let's have a look. They're all worth the same points. They all give me some eclipse actions there. I'm going to take this one. Take a shaman card. Put it into my discard pile there. Okay. So now let's think about what I want to do. What is going to score me good? So if I go into the migrate action, I get to use this particular card here, the canine card, which gives me an extra labour and a tool back as well. It's worth half a labour and a point at the eclipse, though. The migrate action means that he would then either move to there or there, basically. It kind of opens it all up for him. Yeah, I want to start getting some of my camps back out on the board and start getting a bit more influence. Maybe place another village because that gives me more. So let's do this. We're going to move over onto my migrate action here, and the first thing I'm going to do is play this card. Okay, so that gives me first of all a labour, which allows me to take one of these guys and move it onto my board. And also gives me a tool as well, so my tools are back up to full pelt there. I can also spend another food now, which I'm going to do, and move one of these camps out onto there, which is good. And then I could spend that and a food. No, I don't quite get it yet.
Yeah, 1 more food is about the limit if you want to build the...
Yeah,
build a village.
Want to build a village. Just trying to think about where to go best. So
it's one of the best places to get megaliths if you want to really compete on that.
So go up that way, you think? Yeah. I like that idea. Yeah. So let's just spend that tribe card for starters. Move that up there. That gives me this action.
You make it all the way up there. You might be able to make it to this node a little easier. I'm not sure. That would be
1, 2,
3 total labor to get out there.
And I could do that in 2, couldn't I? I could move that guy and then do that, and that would be 2.
And then you'd need...
Oh, I need that there. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Have I got 3? Then I need...
You just committed 2, so you have one more... You have 2 movements that you haven't used yet.
I pulled them both onto the board for that, though, didn't I? Yeah, so... yeah, I spent 2 and pulled those guys onto the board, so that was my 2 labour done. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I pulled those onto the board because those were on my map. So let's think about this. I don't know if I can actually get to build the.
You did spend 1 food though, didn't you?
I spent 1 food. Yeah.
So you could have at least 1 more.
I could have 1 more. Let's put that there. Yep. Okay. And then I need to spend 2 to move this guy here, basically. So if I spend. Oh no! I can spend the shaman, couldn't I?
Yeah, and if you spend the shaman, you could even take back your tribe guy.
In
That
fact,
would be too much.
that's what I'm going to do, in fact. Yep. So we'll do that. Do that. Spend a tool. And then 1, 2 to there. Yeah? Okay. Cool. Right, so that's that action. Then what I can do is move it down here. Spend 3 food. 1, 2, 3. And I can place one of my villagers on this node here, which gives me massive influence. Those go back to my board. Oh. And as I mentioned earlier, building up this engine of your cards becomes really, really good. You get to understand the mechanics. Although Drake's helping me out a lot, obviously. But you get to understand the mechanics of what does what and how well it all works together. So that's good. I've created a little village there, which gives me 2 influence on each of those there. So I guaranteed those. And then I move down here, and I can plant 1 and move 1. So let's do that. Let's plant 1. And let's move that up there for an idle action, basically. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. That's good. That's my go done. Yep. So we'll move those cards into there. Okay. Now back over to the AI. So take this, flip. It's got a little symbol there, so that's another card moving over. So he's really jockeying to try and, the more cards he has here, the more chance he has of going first the next round. And even can say it's gone to
the cards that have these are across the board a tiny bit weaker than cards that don't have it.
Okay.
So it hits them on the front end, but then beats them on the back end.
On the back.
Ever so slightly. It's not. Yeah.
So we know he's gonna. It's the card below, isn't it? It's this card here. We know he's going to move right. He wants to take a migrate action. Can't take a migrate action. So he's going to move on to a hunt action. So he's going to take this. So we're going to follow this here. And because he's the first player, action there, he's going to get a tool and he's going to get a food. And we're coming towards the end of his food track now, and this is where we'll start moving down here. So once he fills this up, he'll then start moving up the idle track. So that's why it's kind of important to try and stay ahead of him there. Then he's going to take a hunt card, so he is really going for the hunt. It's really kind of working out for him at the moment. Going to take a hunt card, and it's going to be at the top, and here it is, and therefore it's going to be the rightmost card, and it's going to be that, and he's going to do that there. Then we're going to flip 2 cards, because that was the next action there. Then he's going to take another food. Then he's going to hunt again, and it's the bottom right card, so he's going to go right down to the bottom here, and take this card. Okay, which is there. Ho, ho, ho. Then he's going to hunt again, which is the top and left. So he's going to take this card here and build there. And he's starting to see, you can see that the what he was doing by kind of hunting earlier and getting those various sets means that he's starting to build up a nice scoring mechanism here. Then the final thing is to flip 2 cards. So we'll do that there and that there. Yeah, that's going to affect his end of game scoring, that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if he can get a single punt action in the last round.
Yeah. And the first time I played this game last week with Drake, he kind of went really full out on burying the cards, and this time he's going full out on hunting, and it just shows you how variable the game is and how things can change. However, we're back to me. So I could spend an altar card now, so I could spend food to get 3 tools. I don't really know if that does anything for me at this stage, to tell you the truth. So I may well save that and just see what happens next round.
I mean, it would technically roll over. You spend 1 food to get 1 tool and then 2 more food.
Oh, 2 more food. That's true. Yeah. Actually, I forgot about that. Actually, I'm going to do that.
Be a rebate of 1, I think.
So there we go. That's 1 tool, and then 1, 2. So that's okay. That's fine. That's actually worked out better for me now. Okay, so let's have a look at what we can do then. So if I want to take these first player actions, do I want stones? If I did want stones, it's going to cost me food and 2 tools. So I could do that. I could go down.
If you don't do that, the AI is going to. They are going to take
the stones.
Right, most of them.
Yeah. So
this one is under, which that one's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, for the berry cards. I've got 3 berry cards, so at the moment that will give me 3 points there. As for the AI, it would give him 3 points, but he could go ahead and bury.
He gets
he gets 6 points flat, doesn't he? Sorry, I forgot there. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do then. I don't have any developed elders here, unfortunately, but that's okay. So yeah, let's take. Let's do this and put my guy on there, which puts this chieftain into play. And I can start moving down here and having a look at these. I can either get these cards for 2, because they've got a discount on there, or I can start looking at some of these higher value kind of tier 2 cards. That will allow me to discard a card.
It's because you have so many tools.
Yeah, that's good. And that
but
gives me.
Actually, I mean, honestly, these are all great. So
that allows me to discard a card, move tents, move stuff around. That's discard a card, idle, and bury. Actually, that's quite good, because if I'm going to start burying cards, I'm going to take that stone. I think I'm going to take this one. Yep. So that's going to cost me 3. So that is 1 there for my guy. So that means I need to find 2 from here, which is going to be this card and maybe a food. Yeah. So if we do that, use a food. That's okay.
That's nice because it'll put something to. Oh, you already have trap cards in there to bury. Never mind.
Yeah. So does this go into my hand now? No. Yeah. Effectively. Yep. Yeah. Okay, because it's a culture card, and that's good. Okay, so that I could do another one, but I need some cards left for my final action, basically.
And you don't want to spend your last food.
No. So we'll go down here, and here we go. We know that I need this food for here, and I need 1 food and 2 tools to get the second stone. So there we go. 1 food, 2 tools, and I can get the second stone. And I think we said I was going to go. I can get that one for the yellow. So I've got influence there and influence there.
You're already hitting the second tier of this.
I am indeed.
Assuming you don't move this guy.
Yeah, Oh man, but he's going to get this card anyway, isn't he? Basically, which then puts him onto that card. He gets flat 6. It doesn't really matter.
He takes 1 more. Once he takes 1 more, he's not going to take any more.
Anymore.
He'll start taking megaliths instead.
I need to take this one then, really, don't I? That's the best one to take, I think. It might give my current position, basically. Still got more.
I think. Yeah. Upper limits. I mean, you could try and leverage this one, but I do think that the one that you're
I think it's this one here. Okay, and as you can see, this gives me a card into my discard pile, and I get to put the stone on there as well. So let's do that. So a card into my discard pile. That's one of these cards here. Let's think about action.
Yes, and it's 50-50 whether you'll see it or not.
Yeah. Think about the actions that I haven't taken in a couple of turns. I've got one. I
will say crafters are decent in the last round, especially if the key doesn't take a bunch of culture, because then all of these are going to have discounts on them.
Okay.
And they'll be for they'll be worth decent points.
So let's do that then. Let's take a crafter.
But the shamans are also good because you're like loaded on tools.
On tools then, but yeah. I've taken the crafter, that's good. And that's gone into there. So that's that action taken. Then final, I get to pull a card into my hand and add another tool as well. So that's good.
Yeah. And this is one of those circumstances where, like, if you have a culture card that needs a food, it might be good to trade one of your tools, trade the tool you get down for a food.
Yeah.
But if not, then, it's kind of...
And I don't have a culture card that needs food at the moment, but I don't have any food as well. I'm still kind of tool rich. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade that action down just to have a food, just to have it anyway, I think. I don't want to be... And a card as well. So that's just a card from here into my hand, basically, yep.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay, back over to him now then, basically. So, let's see what his final action is going to be. It doesn't really matter. All these are taken, so it's kind of look at the draw now, basically.
He'll do one of the two middle ones.
Yeah, because those are the ones that he hasn't taken. So he's going to move left. Oh, no, sorry, right. Yep. So there we go. That will put him onto the develop action, which is this one here. And look at that. He's going to take the rightmost stone. So
he's not first, though. So.
Oh, no, he's not first, no. So he's not going to do that. Sorry, he will take it in a bit. Yeah, that line means he has to have first action. Here we go. He's going to do an idle action, first of all. So move down here.
If you just want to go ahead and take care of both of them.
Yeah, 2 idle actions, which puts him in front there, because that's those two. Then he's going to take a culture card, which is at the bottom and at the left. So he's going to take this one.
And then also the top and right.
And also top and right as well, a second, which is this one here. Neither of which I wanted. I'm okay with that. That's 2 culture cards. And then he's going to take the rightmost stone that he can take, which is this one here. That goes onto his map. There we go. And he's going to score a straight up 6 points for that. And that's his final go done there.
One more culture.
Oh, one more culture. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that. That's top and left. So that's this one here. He's racking up those culture cards. Okay. So that's everything done for him. We've gone down that entire column there. He's taken everything. That's his final go gone. So we've both gone. Oh, no, I've got my final go now. So I can place...
Contributing nothing here and then 3 based on cards. So
it could be 1.5 is what he should be going, is what we think then, basically, yeah? Yeah.
And then 0 to 3 is the quote true range.
Yeah. So, do I want to place these cards in here then? I think so, yeah. And maybe I'll take an eclipse action, I think. Yeah. So let's do that. Let's move that up there. And that means I can place all these cards. Means I don't carry them over to next go. I'm not going to place this one. But it does mean I get these eclipse actions. So I get 2 tools, which is fine. I get to plant and get 2 food, which is good. And I get to add into my discard pile, which could also be good as well.
You probably don't need to commit all of them.
I don't.
I'm
just going to do 2 of them, I think, which is going to be these 2 here. Okay.
If you are planning on hunting next round, that is something to consider too, because that could let you get like a huge hunt action next round.
See, there we go. We'll place both of those then instead.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think I've definitely won first turn, which is good, basically here. So that's good.
You can choose to either draw a card or to gain a new dog.
So in terms of the dogs then, so we've got one in my pack already. That's also good for hunting as well, isn't it? That's the one I've got in my pack already. Don't want to migrate. I'm okay for kind of moving around the board, though. I've kind of got the influence I kind of need, I think.
I'll let you double down on hunting.
On hunting, that's what I'm going to do then, yeah. Okay.
And then that guy would let you double down on the used cards getting discounts.
Yeah, we'll do the hunting one. That's good. Okay.
So that's one thing I like about this game is that I oftentimes feel in some games where it'll boil down to like do the right thing.
Yep.
And I never know if I'm doing the right thing in this game. I could have reserved it. I could have spent it. I could have,
And what I'm really Yeah, and I think that's really truthful, that, because, over the couple of games I've played now, it's just so different. The game is playing out so different each and every time that your strategy, you've got the shifting sand of strategy, if you like, or that you just have to kind of adapt to each and every time. Okay, so here we go. So we're back onto the eclipse phase. So now we're going to compare labour, basically. So if you look here, he's got nothing here. Got half, 1.5 labour, basically, there. And 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Wow. Okay, so I'll move his points up on, puts him on 14 there, doesn't it? That's okay. We've got 1.5 labour. I know, if we look here at mine, I've got 2.
Smash.
Plus the 2 here. So I've absolutely got first place here, basically. Yeah. Which is great. So do I take that action now?
Yep. That'll be first.
So I can take any of these actions. Because I got top, I can take any of these actions whatsoever. I can place a megalith, which gives me more points. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so almost at this point, unless you're planning to go kind of hard on the megaliths, getting the bonuses might be worth more points than going points.
Yeah.
Because like placing on top right now is worth 1 point.
1 point.
The card is worth 1 point.
Yeah.
Those are the types of things to
So,
think about. But if you think you can go hard and get a lot of points out of this,
I'm not too sure if I can, which was different. My last game, obviously, I went fairly hard on that and did quite well. But I could get a couple of food here, but I'm going to hunt. So these are draw cards to my hand, aren't they, here, these basically. So let's do that. But it also gives me an idle action on the eclipse as well. So we've unopened this here. So take a card to my hand. There we go. Okay.
Super.
So 2 cards, even better. So I've got a really strong deck coming soon on for kind of the final round. Okay, so those going to...
Now you get these guys.
I get the bonuses, which is I get to add a tribe card into my discard pile. Not a tribe card, these cards. I'm going to take a Shaman, I think. Yeah. And I also get 2 tools. 1, 2. So that's those. That's great. So I've really kind of stacking up on coming first there, which is great. Okay, so next we move on to turn order track is what we've done.
Do the map next.
Do the map. Okay. So for me, I get an idle action. No, sorry, this is me here, isn't it? Sorry. Which one's he?
No, he's the colors are off on these a little bit, but this is him.
Oh, that's right. That's me. So I get an idle action, a megalith, 2 food. Oh god, I get 2 idle actions. So let's do those first of all, basically. So let's move me 1, 2 into the lead there. I also get 2 food, so let's add those on. 1, 2. I get 3 victory points. That takes me from 6 to 9. There. And I get a megalith action as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as I take this megalith action here, what do I need? Let's take another couple of idle points, I think. It's 1, 2. There we go. That's that. So that's my travel board done there. Have we done his? Did we do his?
Not yet.
Not yet.
So we'll get
2 food.
2 food, 2 points.
So you do the points, and then we'll explain the food here, because this is where it starts to become... So he's going to get 2 food, and as you can see, he can't do food, basically, because he's at the top of his track. So if we do the drop down, he's now going to do 2 idle points, that means. So we go down here, he's going to go 1, 2, and move into the front there. Okay.
That is correct.
Yep. And then if you go here, you've got his 2 points, which is what you got, and 2 food. Oh, he gets another 2 food up here, doesn't he? Oh, no.
No, he's losing there.
He's losing there.
The
He gets a megalith. Sorry. There we go. So we take a megalith.
And he'll use his top card.
Yeah, which is the bottom. This one here.
So he does want to build on top, and then he's going to go to the left to break ties.
There we go.
Yep,
That's it. Just there. And that's his area map done. That's good. Okay. And that's his AI scoring done. I've done trials. And now it's just a player board for me. So we get these two.
As you can see, so 1 idle and 2 cards.
I get 2
and
cards.
Again, those cards are eligible for trade-ins. I'll get the culture cards down here set up.
Oh yeah, so I could get the dog cards, basically, is what you're saying. Yep. The canine cards. Yep.
No, I'm sorry. These. They could trade down on the.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. I could go here. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. So I've got a fairly strong hand coming up. I may have too many cards to answer. I'm going to take 1 card, and I'm going to move up here onto the idle track because I can, because that's the next card down. There we go. And then I also get another idle action. So I'm going to move up to here. So now I've guaranteed some points here, which is good on this right-hand idle track. And it's, yeah. And so that's good. And as you can see, Drake's refilled down here with the culture. These are the ones that from the last round that were left, so they're now they're going to have cost of labour less. And these are the new ones that have gone here. So we're going to move. Sorry, we should have moved that to the eclipse phase.
It's with scouting, so there's lots and lots of animals out.
Lots of animals out. Lots of point scoring opportunity for this final round now. And as the point markers move to this final here, that means all of the remaining stones are left. Fortunately, the AI can't get any more, whereas I could potentially get this stone here, which is for the brown. I've got control of it, or that card, which is what's that stone, Drake?
That's for each megalith you have on the 2nd level or higher.
Okay, get 2 points basically. At the moment, I don't score for that. That's fine. Yeah.
You're on the bottom level, so when you place up is going to be worth 3 points. This will make it worth 5.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 5 cards into my hand. So, there's only 2 there. That's okay. So flip that over. Yep. So I move them over then. I'll let you shuffle them. And then there's another 3 cards to draw to my hand there. That's it. Look at this. Look at this kind of massive array of cards that I've got to go at now. This engine building is so good. Although it's not strictly engine building, it's kind of deck building, really, isn't it? It's such a great element. I'm making my hands so strong right now. And of course, I got first player, so I get to go first. Drake's put my pieces back. We put the AI's pieces back. We've drawn his first card. We know he's going to go right. So let's have a look at this then. So I get to draw some altar cards. And I've got this stone. The reason I took that card is that if I discard a card now, I get to add another card into here. And because I've got... Oh, I didn't take that card, did I? Oh, no. I ended up taking the buried action card. He took it. Okay. So
it's still kind of worth the winner on that track.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So let's place that altar card then, start off with. So that is to discard any card to get an idle action and also bury a card as well. What card do I want to discard?
You can bury. This action right here is actually to gain a tribe card, and it puts a tribe card into your discard pile, and then you bury a card as well.
Okay.
So you could basically bury an elder directly from the...
Oh, okay. Let's do that then. Let's do that, and I keep my cards available. It doesn't really matter, does it? So let's do that.
Of course.
Sorry?
You still have to do the discard.
Still have to discard one as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just looking. I'm not going to go megalith, so I'm going to discard this card basically. I'm okay with that. Okay, I still get another altar action, don't I? If I wanted one. This adds a card into my hand. Yeah, let's do that. So let's take this altar action. Use a tool.
Culture action.
Culture action, sorry, not alter action. It's an altar. And what am I going to do? What's my final strategy, we think? Maybe hunt some more. I've already got hunt, though. I've got some fairly strong hunt cards. Maybe not my great.
Well, that's the cool thing about the game is that there's not really an upper limit on these things.
Yeah.
So even if you had, 6 hunters in your hand, you could potentially go out and just hunt 6 animals. I'm
going to take one of these here, one of these elder cards I got rid of earlier anyway. Okay, so now I get to take my go. What do we think?
I was threatening to go right.
Right. So take this, then he's either going to go there, or there. And that allows me some idle points there as well. It allows me... I don't need any more cards in my hand. What's on the hunt board? Oh, look at this. Now I'm going to go hunting. I've got some good hunting cards to take, basically. So that's what we'll do.
And that's neat too. Now you're basically giving the AI a 50-50 shot whether or not they're going to hunt this turn.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. If I take that, that gives me an extra card and an extra tool. Do I need a tool yet? No, maybe. Yeah. So let's place this card. Okay, to start off with, and that gives me one on action. Let's take the tool. It gives me a labor to take as an action. That allows me to... I need two, don't I, to take the card from here, basically. So I could just spend a food, or I could take a... Let's take a tribe.
So there's technically no limit to the amount of animals that can be flipped out.
Right, okay.
If you need to flip out more, just flip them in.
All right. Down. Actually, I'm going to save that one for now. I'm going to use this guy here. Yeah. And that gives me the two actions there, so I can take one of these. And let's take this. Finally, take this other one here. So suddenly, as you can see, if I kept this Argentavis, basically, that adds as a card for any. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, which would give me 10 victory points from collecting that set. That's a pretty good set to have there, tell you the truth. I've still got more hunt actions I can take.
I took your tool back.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I've still got more actions I could take. So, yeah. This gives me 1 plus another tool. So, yeah, let's do that. That's 1 action plus a tool. And let's just drop food down for my second action and take another card. No, we're not going to, actually. We're going to flip cards over. Oh, there's 1 there. And then just anywhere else, you say. Oh, look at that. This is good. It doesn't really help. I've got 4 there.
If you can pull out 8 labor, you can hunt an entire set of tigers right now.
This is true. Look at that. 2 labor, 3 labor, 4 labor, 5 labor.
You got 3 food.
And 3 food. Let's do that then. So that's 2 labor for there, because I've got the extra action. 3 labor, 4 labor, 5 labor, and 3 food. 1, 2, 3. And I can take all of these cards. These 3 cards here, yeah?
And the bird.
And the bird.
8.
So
that's a total of 4 poles.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, 8. That's 4. It's 2 for each, yeah. There we go. And this guy here. So suddenly, my endgame victory points now are looking at... I'm going to get 20 from my hunting sets if I don't do any more. You know what? I'm kind of done there, I think.
The main thing to consider now is you could basically turn 2 labor from your hand into 5 labor worth of food by hunting any animal and then eating it.
Oh, yes, I could, yeah. Yeah, I could. So if I want to save that because that gives me 3. If I do a tribe and... I'm not going to take any more stones. So let's do that. If I do a tribe card and this card... No, I didn't mean that card. It should be that card. Tribe card and that card. That gives me 2. I can take any of these, and they all give me 5 food, don't they, basically? What can... Yeah.
I mean, technically the red, you could get the stone, but I don't know if it's really worth it.
No, I'm just going to do this, and then I'll move on to this action, which is to turn it sideways. Oops, gone too far. And that gives me 5 food back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. And then we go on to the final action, which is just to take 1 from the top into here, basically.
1 point.
There we go. That was not a bad go at hunting there.
Yeah, and that's That's the fun part, I think, sometimes in this is when you get to take like those just insane turns where
You can just keep stacking everything on top of everything. It's fantastic. Right, okay, so let's go to him now then and see what he's got. There's no symbol there, so there's nothing there. He's going to go into the initiate one. So let's put him in here, down there. And he's got first player, so he's going to take that action, which is that card that Drake's just put there. Then he's going to take a megalith. So there's another megalith here. And he's going to go to the top board, so the north board, and to the right, basically. So that's going to put him there. There we go. Then he's going to bury a card. So that's this. Then he's going to take another megalith. And it's going to go bottom and to the right, so down here. So that's going to be there. There we go. And then bury another card. That's all those actions done. But you can see the Eclipse phase has already got another point that's racking up there. So back over to me. Now, let's see what I've got left. I don't have many cards left, so I need to think about an Eclipse action at some point. And then I've got this guy, which gives me an extra, one extra kind of, one go extra.
Yeah, he's hit a ceiling on a bunch of stuff now. He's about to start kicking down.
Yeah.
We got 2 actions left.
Only 2 actions left. Let's see what I can do. I've got food enough to take a stone, and if I do take these stones, culture cards give me points, don't they, right now? Oh, I can get a culture card there.
And culture cards are all worth an extra point because of your sacred stone.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's use a big guy, I think. I'm going here. So first of all, that automatically gives me... Oh yeah, move those. That automatically gives me a labour. So that takes my labour cost down to 2. And then if I go here, there's another discount, which takes my labour cost down to 1. So I only have to spend 1 more labour. And I could use my food for that, because I'm at 5. So do that. And that means I can take this discounted 3-point culture card into my hand, which is good. What I can do the beginning of my next turn is I can spend that and get some idle points as well. Okay. What else? Don't want to spend any more. I can't really. I'm going to have to spend all 3. Yeah, that doesn't allow me to do anything. That does. If I spend a tool, I can get another one. Sorry?
You can think, if you kind of reverse engineer what you want to do on your last turn, you can figure out how much resources you need to leave yourself.
So there, I need to have 1 food and 3 hatchets, basically. So that gives me 1, 2, 3. That gives me 3 goes that I can do there. So I could take another couple of culture cards, basically. If I play the Shaman, place tool, that still gives me enough.
Even if you don't play the cards, I mean, 2 labor for 3 points is a pretty good haul.
Yeah, I agree. 2 labor for 3 points.
Yeah, because these are each worth 2 points plus 1 from your sacred stone.
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay, yeah. So if I played the Shaman, pays 2. That gives me 3 labor. And then I can take... Oh, it costs me 2 labor. I can take a 3-pointer then, actually, couldn't I, though?
Yeah, and then it would be worth 4.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a 3-pointer into my hand. There we go. I know that was a cheaper cost, but I got more points there, so that's okay. And then I could... How much food do I need? I need 1 food left, so 1, 2. Let's spend 2 food and get another culture thing here. 1, 2. 2. To get this card into my hand. There we go. That's good. Move down to here. I need to spend 1 food. Still leaves me a food left, which is good. 1, 2, 3 of those, and I can get my final stone. Which one do we think? It's not that one. This one.
That one's worth 3. However, this one over here, if your last action is migrate, you might be able to set up both your sacred stones for a few more points.
So I would need in the brown areas here, basically. So I would need control of this and down.
Yeah, you've got 2 influence in the brown areas so far.
Yeah.
So even if you get one more camp out there, you can get much more points.
Okay, this is true. Okay, let's do that. So
this right here
Yep.
is actually gain a tribe card to hand and bury a card.
Okay, so again, I could do the same thing about I could get a tribe card to hand and bury it straight away, couldn't I? Basically, if I wanted to. Which one to take? So, my last action I said it was a migrate, don't I? So let's take a migrate card to hand.
The shaman is worth more overall.
He is overall,
labor
yeah.
if you have the tools. So it's all about whether you have like culture that needs tools or that kind of stuff for your
I
roster.
can get the tools. So, wrong thing. There we go. Let's take him to hand. Okay.
And then bury. So maybe this trap card here.
Yeah, let's take that. Yep. Perfect. Excellent. Right. Let's go over to the AI. It's getting close now.
And you know what he wants to do. He's going to move around the board.
So he's going to want to hunt, which is he can't do. So he's going to.
Just because it's the only available action.
Yeah, it's the only available action, which is migrate. Yep. So there we go. He's going to go there. It is a first player, so he's going to get a megalith. And if we look at that,
He went to the only board where he wasn't going to score more points. All right. I mean, he will score more points for that,
just not as many as.
It'll be 3 points instead of 4.
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. And then we look at his actions here. He's going to move up 1 from where he is. So he's going to move from there to there. There's nothing left in the centre. So we look at the furthest away glacier, which is this one here. And he's going to put that on there. Then he's got the camp action, which he's going to do at the end. So then we're going to move from there to there. Look at the furthest away glacier, which is...
And then it'll break as
the
highest and leftmost.
So it's that one there. Then he's going to move back to here.
And he skips
that
up to 1 space.
Yeah,
so
he's
he'll
going to
wrap.
put one there.
And he stole it from you.
I hate him. But now he's going to put 2 camps down, basically.
If he can.
He
actually does not have a single legal spot for
He doesn't. He needs to have 2 nodes available to him.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If there's already a camp, he doesn't...
He doesn't move it. Yeah. So he does have... He has this one here. For the first one, so it's going to be the right and down. So that's there.
So these 2... So, yeah, looks like that one.
I hate him.
Oh, wait, no. They're both down, right? Yep.
Yeah. So then move back to the middle.
Oh, no. Once he built 1, it would have nuked the camp.
Yes. So he would have done the first one first, which is the top one there. So that one wouldn't go on. There we go. That feels right. If we got it slightly wrong, I'm sure people will shout at the screen, but that's okay.
Hey, it could have been worse. I mean, he tied you on the food and then stole your idol.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world, but irrespective of what it has done, if we look here, if we look there, I needed that to have influence on there to get my middle points, didn't I, basically? Yeah. So...
These are the rarest cards that have the stones on them and stacking them.
Okay, so let's think about this then. I think I want to move on to the migrate, which is what I was kind of... all right, let's do this.
Last hurrah.
One last hurrah, indeed. Well, let's look at what I can do first of all. I can discard a card. I can discard a food. Let's do that.
And you're a pretty fair bet to win the Eclipse bonus.
Yeah.
Contribute much of anything.
So I'm going to discard a food to get an idle point, which is going to put me up there.
So that is risky.
Sorry?
Just because that's risky, putting yourself up to 9 and not 10, just for the simple fact
he
that
could then overtake.
Lock in the 10. Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay because I've got this card, either of these cards as well.
All right.
Yeah. So that puts me to 9 there. You're absolutely right. He can overtake, and I get 2 tools. 1, 2. And then
if you don't have use for those tools, maybe food might be more useful in the last round. But
yeah,
I'm not trying to.
Oh, of course, I keep forgetting about the uptake there. Yeah, hold on a sec. Yeah, so 1, 2. That's a good point. I forgot I can knock down actions 1, 2. There we go. And then I'm going to discard one more card. Sorry, I'm going to discard a card. Do I need the megalith? Oh, I could do the megalith actually. Yeah. Let's use that card instead. Discard this card. Get my idle action, which gets me to the top of the track there. So he can't come first on that. Then I get a megalith action, which is going to give me 2 food. Yeah.
If you put a thing on top right now,
yeah,
it'll get you 3 points.
3 points, and I've got enough food. That's a good point, and I get whatever's under there, which is an idle action. Okay, let's do that. Yep. Okay, that's my 2 culture cards used, but yeah. Okay. And now, do we want to migrate?
A small tip.
Yeah.
If you put this here, you'll leave yourself an extra spot to potentially go up.
Okay. Okay. Good idea.
Otherwise, it'll block off both.
Both of those. Yeah. Oh, it's like it's just like a spatial puzzle as well. It's fantastic. Okay, so I've got enough. I've got that.
Yeah, this board gets pretty nuts with 4 players.
Yeah, I bet it does. I bet it starts to fill quite quickly.
Yeah, especially with them actually getting the bonuses of the first spread bonus.
Yeah,
they really explode.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move over to the migrate action, and there's a reason for this right now. Is that if I do that card?
Did you gain the 6 points for this track over here?
For which track? Sorry.
The track over here.
Oh no, I didn't. No. So you get those as you get to them, don't you? Yeah. So that's 6 points I add onto there. All right. Puts me on 15, right on his tail. So then I'm going to do the migrate action. I'm going to spend my final tool to get 1, 2, 3 actions here. All right, okay? So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to move that down. Then I'm going to move that across, and that's 2 actions. Then I can...
It looks like you'll be just short on a village, but...
Yeah, I'm not too bad. It was about getting this here, really, I think. Yeah, so I still get 1 action. That's only going to give me... I can do food, can't I? Yeah. So, the final one, put that there. Yeah, just shy on this will give me 1...
I think spending 2 food to move up here is going to be worth more points than the 3-to-1, because you don't have a great exchange value.
No.
Unless you get a bunch of idols from the last round, so I guess that... Yeah. Worth
So what do you recommend?
So many different options, I don't even know. Watch what you pick that.
So let's do 1, 2 food. Will get me that there.
Nice.
And then I can spend... I don't have any more food left. Yeah. I've got the influence.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. Yeah, that actually, because of this thing...
Yeah.
It actually might be more worth it to put...
that there.
To put that there.
I think you're right. 5. I need to make sure I've got that influence there, basically, don't I? So, yeah. Okay. And then, so that's both my food spent there. Oh, no, it's only 1 food spent there, isn't it, basically? Because, I didn't... Yeah, because I'm moving up there. So I could move the final one onto there. And then I could spend his final card. Who knows?
Do you want to try and take him over in the turn order?
In the turn order, I think, yeah. So I'll just keep that for the... So I do that now, don't I, basically? Yep, that goes there. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And that's good, too, because that will give you a point, because it buries a guy.
Yep.
Or it discards the guys.
So back over to him for his last go. He's going to move a card across.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and he didn't hunt.
And he didn't hunt.
But,
Yeah,
This actually might be pretty good. Anyways.
he's going to go down to the develop action, basically, so that's okay. So he's there. He's not first action, so he's going to get a stone. He's going to get a culture card, which is to the right and to the bottom. So that's this. Let's go down in order. He's going to get a tool. That's okay. Tool. Then a stone, which you can't do a stone.
Oh.
So it's a megalith. Can't do a megalith. So then he buries a card.
So he's going to bury 3 cards.
3.
Because that's going to happen.
2, 3. That's that done. Okay, that's him.
And then he's fighting you with 1 labor plus 2 cards. Oh, he got you.
He got the
3
maximum.
labor. Oh boy.
Yeah. So he got the top there. Okay.
So just running out his last turn real quick, no points. But for the map, he's going to get 2 idols, and then the megalith is going to trade all the way down to a buried card. The 2 food is going to turn in. Okay.
So he's going to get
2 points over here.
Yeah. 4 idols.
And then 4 idols.
So he will go where then? So still move this 1, 2. There.
3, yep, and that'll give him the 6.
And then onto there is 4. Yep. Okay.
Yes. And that is all of his inputs.
Okay. Okay. So then we move over on to me then now, don't we? The most important, of course.
With our flip phase.
So Eclipse pile. So I do this. I can take a card. And so the value in taking the card right now to my hand, does that really matter? Yeah. There's a point value potentially.
Not really.
But the idol could matter more.
It would be worth stuff either way.
Yeah.
So trading it down for probably idols is better.
So let's move this up here. Okay.
Now your card over here. So go ahead and bury somebody from the center. Or not bury, discard a card from the center.
So it doesn't really matter because they're all same point, does it, basically there? So at this stage, yeah?
Yep. Math time.
Aha. Okay. So
So start over here. I got 2 points, 3 points for you.
Okay. Let you do that. Then I got the idol here.
And an idol here, so
So
2
on the
idols.
1, 2. Yeah. 2
And
food.
2 food, and a megalith.
2 food and a megalith, which because of where I am on the idle track here, I can't move that up any further at this stage. Oh, yeah, because that's going to move up. Well, let's see. I'm going to get 2 moves on there for the idle track.
I mean, that technically get you 2 idle moves.
Yeah, that's true.
Trade those cards down for stuff. Or you can just go 3 points.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's go 3 points here. Yeah, so that's okay. Right, okay. Is that me done? Megalith, idols. Yep, that's me done on there.
Okay, and then your player board. Last, 2 cards and 2 idols. So
that's
essentially 4 idols. And
1, 2, 3. Well, I can only do 3 idols. So I can then move up. Yeah, food. Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's everything there, is it?
Oh, actually, it's worth the same, but instead of gaining a food, if you just hit the top, you just gain a point. So
Okay. Oh, right. Okay, fine. Yep.
kind of the same thing.
Yep.
And
Okay.
I believe that's the Eclipse phase.
That's all the
So
Eclipse
it's-
phase done. So now, well, let me move there. Now we're going to move on to final scoring. Hey, this is where.
All
Sorry?
of you, all of him.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
just
Do all of him to start off with, and then let's see where I come with. So let's start with him first. Yeah. So tell us how the AI scores.
okay. So they're going to score just like players do.
Yep.
Mostly. So for Sacred Stones, they're going to get 6 points per stone.
Okay.
So
18.
18.
So he's on to there. So that's 24. So 34, 42. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not. 18. Yeah. Okay. 42. Yeah.
Tracks. So you actually managed to lock him out pretty good. So over here on the left track, and as you recall, last game he maxed both
Yeah.
of these pretty.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So over here, at a 4-to-1 ratio, He's got a total of 13, so 3 points.
3 points. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
And then the buried cards. So he's got 9 buried cards, and he's in second, so he gets 6 points.
6 points there. So here we go. So 45 to 51. Yep.
Tribe and culture cards. So he's got 9 points from tribe cards. And then 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. 15 points from his tribe and culture.
So that puts me on to 66.
Yeah, I want to say he got between those two last time. So.
Yep.
Now his animal cards.
Yeah.
So 3 for all these looses, and then 3, 3, and 3. So 12 total.
So then that's 69, so that's 78. Okay. Yep.
And then he's going to score his megaliths.
Okay.
So this megalith is worth 1 point for every megalith of his color below it. So
Okay.
1, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's
Total
15.
of 15.
Yep. Three. Yep.
And that's all the AI's points.
Ooh.
That's your
Oh.
threshold to beat.
Yeah, so I think last time he scored over 100 points, so I think I managed to knock him out a little bit there. So let's go back to this final scoring card here and see what happens on me then. So Sacred Stones, let's top these up then. So it's slightly different for me. So I get a point for every culture card I've got. Yep.
Yeah. So I've got 2 over here. 3, 4, 5. 6, 7,
8.
8.
8, which puts me on to 27. Okay.
You got max value on this one, so 12.
So 12 points from 27 to 39. Yep.
And then you got the first value on this one, so 3.
3 points. That puts me on to 42. Okay. So then we got the offering track food and tools.
Okay. So you're 1-1, so go ahead and get 2 points for your food.
Okay. Yep.
And you buried 5 cards, and you're on the upper of the 2 things, so that's 10 points.
10 points for burying 5 cards, as you can see there. Because I came first, that's there. So, sorry, it's 10 points we said, yep. Yep, so it's 10 points, so that's 44, 54, yep.
Alright. Next, tribe and culture is probably going to be pretty big if you want to do that last.
Okay, let's do that last. Animal cards. Oh, this is good.
10, 21.
21 on there because I got those couple of birds, so puts me on to 75. It's going to get close.
Your megaliths, each of these megaliths is worth 3, so 3, 6.
6 onto megalith there, puts me on to 81. Yep.
You got him.
I got him.
With your culture and stuff, so let's see. I'm just going to add all these together.
Yeah,
so
fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 13, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25.
25. So Drake was adding the victory points that you can see kind of, let me just put that out there on each of the cards that has them. So that's 25 onto 81, which gives me 106. So I beat the AI on this game. Now, the last game I played the AI against the AI against Drake, it was a dead tie, and because it was a tie of how things worked out, I won that. But this time I beat him. This comes with experience. Now, that was really, really enjoyable, and I think you can see as we play through this game that the building up of your deck building that you have down here, making these informed decisions, and an AI which actively guns for certain parts of the map becomes a really interesting balance. So Drake, regarding this kind of AI deck itself over here. It's scalable as well in terms of difficulty, is it?
Yeah, so they're not on Tabletop Simulator at the moment, but I've also got some hard difficulty cards. You know, essentially each round you put out one card that doesn't actually do the thing, but it gives like a baseline for all the actions.
Yep.
The hard mode cards are just a bunch of they're reversible, so both the top and the bottom are the same. You just have to like flip it.
Okay.
But it'll essentially give you a harder baseline to compete against for the entire round.
Yep.
So the AI will be a little more aggressive about, you know, potentially building stones or about placing camps, stuff like that, to make sure that it gets kind of a good efficiency. And then you can scale that by introducing that hard card in any number of rounds.
Yeah.
So if you play one round of hard, then you've played essentially difficulty 2. And
right.
If you play all 4 cards, then you're at difficulty, I think, 5.
Wow. Okay. So it does become massively scalable. We play on the easiest difficulty here, and it isn't my first game. As I say, I'm kind of 2.5, nearly 3 games into this now. So I'm starting to develop these kind of strategies, I think, for the people that really enjoy lots of interconnected mechanisms, and this game is really going to shine for you. You know, it feels deeply thematic. Everything that you're doing leads on to another. You can see that as you're starting to build up these kind of the animals, as you're starting to hunt the wildlife, or you're starting to stack up your hand of cards to develop these really powerful hands that you play the later rounds with, anticipating what's going to happen in the eclipse phase, anticipating by using the arrows over on the AI what the AI is going to do. You've got a really involved game that, you know, plays so smooth, and it is not difficult. You know, once you get kind of that first round into it, that's it. You utterly understand how to play the game. That was utterly wonderful. Once again, Drake, thank you very, very much for showing me Endless Winter, Paleoamericans by Fantasia Games, which comes to Kickstarter on the 27th of October. Make sure, solo player, multiplayer, that you absolutely go and back this game.
Great, yeah. Thanks for playing, and you know, we got to see a little bit of extra content here with the canines.
With the canines, yep.
As far as the solo goes, the canines can just slot right in because the expected values are normalized enough that they don't change things too much.
Yeah.
Because you simply get the dog instead of a card. But dogs aren't worth just raw points, so it's not like it increases the overall cap of points in the game. But for instance, there's another module, the ceremonies, and what those do is at the end of the round during the eclipse phase, you can essentially just take a ceremony. But once you've taken a ceremony, it permanently locks down being able to vary cards.
Okay.
But it'll give you a one-time instant score.
Okay.
So it'll say, like, you know, gain 2 points per colored megalith you put out. So it becomes this thing where you want to wait late so that you can score it properly. But if you wait too late, then the people will take the ones that you might be gunning for.
Wow, okay.
In that case, that's the kind of thing that it strictly increases the score of the game by around 15 points a player. So if you play with something like that against the AI will start with 12 points and sort of give you a threshold of, like, you need to overcome 12 points through the ceremonies.
Wow.
So I'm also trying right now to make sure that the solo works in ways that make sense with each of the different expansion parts. Because some things will make it easier, some things will make it harder, some things will kind of wash like the canines do.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where...
Lots coming for it. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Drake. We'll have a chat now. Okay, Notebook Gamers. Wow, as you saw from that is an absolutely fantastic kind of Euro worker placement, deck building, hand management, resource management, megalith building game. I had so much fun playing that game. Obviously made all the better that by this kind of third game that I've had of Endless Winter, the Paleoamericans, I actually beat the AI this time. Proper beat the AI, go me, but I think I did have some help from this gentleman right here, Mr. Drake Villareal. Drake, fantastic work. Thank you very much for allowing us to see that game in action. What kind of gave you the inspiration for the solo in this?
So it was, you know, I was approached about doing the solo mode. I've done some other solo modes. I work with Johnny Pack, and, you know, of course he's the developer and designing expansions and stuff. So when I was approached about the solo mode, I made sure to take a look first and see that it was something that I felt like could handle a solo mode. But I've got kind of this checklist that I go through of like tenets of what makes a good solo design to me. So it was just a matter of kind of running through that and seeing like, what are the interaction points in this game? How can I replicate those interaction points? How can I make this AI easy to manage? And how can I make it feel like a player putting pressure on certain parts of the game? So doing all that stuff required, various iterations. I think this is version 18 or something of these cards. But just slowly refining and figuring out that like the targeting arrows can be used for every system and not needing to be internally contained, and all these kinds of things. And one big thing with the flipping of the cards is I have a problem with solo modes that aren't semi-predictable, because then essentially just random things are happening.
Yep.
And at that point, I almost feel like just play the game by yourself and then roll the dice a few times and then just randomly take points out of your score. It kind of feels the same to me, and I don't really like flowcharts either. So it had to be something that was, you could get an idea of what the AI wants to do, and you can also kind of get an idea of what you don't want the AI to do.
Yep.
And you can use that information to affect the game, but you can't completely like lock the AI out. Like it's not a game where you just learn to play it. Like if you've played in some video games, it's about abusing the AI. Like if you jump on top of a rock with a bow and arrow, they just cannot hit you. And that's sometimes what I feel like a couple solo games can be like, is like it's about learning to figure it out as opposed to learning to just play the game.
Yeah.
And then, I'd actually feel fairly confident that if you jump into a game with other players now, that you'd have kind of a leg up on them having played against you.
I think so as well. I feel that, as you say, with some solo games, the solo mode can feel like a very separate game. I do feel like this solo AI has been designed in such a way that it's given me some strategies. If I sit down and play this with anybody else now, you're absolutely right, I'll have a leg up, I'll have a better understanding, because it feels like I'm playing against a person. I think we've mentioned it before, that there are certain games where the AI will just go off and do their own thing, and all they're doing is racking up their own points, and you're racking up your own points, and you're kind of comparing notes at the end of the game. This didn't feel like that. It felt interconnected. It felt like, say, those arrows, which work so well, they kind of, if it's not here, then it's going to go there, and you can see where everything's going to go. And sure enough, I think with the Sacred Stones, there was one that I was umming and ahhing on taking, and I thought, okay, well, no, I'll take the other one, and maybe I'll get that one on the rebound, so to speak. But no, the very next go, the AI took the Sacred Stone that I was absolutely thinking about, and I think that's a real good thing that in the kind of 3 games I've had of this, there hasn't been many instances where the AI hasn't done something that's to my detriment, that if I'd have done a different action before, wouldn't have happened. And I think that's the beauty in the AI itself. It works so very, very well. So tell me about the Kickstarter itself. It launches on the 27th of October. It's going to run for 22 days, something like that, 21, 22 days?
Yeah. I think it'll be a 3-week campaign. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
Okay, and what can we expect throughout the campaign? So we know that Endless Winter, Paleoamericans. We've seen already the canine kind of pack, how that's going to work as in this exclusive here. What else can we expect that you can tell us about during the campaign?
Yeah, so there's also going to be for backers of the campaign, as opposed to people who wait for for retail in the future. There's going to be the canines as well as the ceremonies module pack. And the ceremonies adds a little bit more in-game scoring. During the Eclipse phase, you can commit to one of these things. It'll take a snapshot of your board and score you some points.
Yep.
But it'll lock down your ability to bury cards. So it becomes this thing where you want to get your board to a state where you're going to score a lot of points, but you don't want to wait too late. So other people take the ones that you want, and you're forced to adjust. So those will be the promo modules that will be given away for people who back the at least the game itself, not just kicking in $5. It's like they're going to send you the stuff, and then also a full small box expansion will be included for backers of the campaign to sort of entice people. I think this is their first Kickstarter, and they realize that people want a reason to back on Kickstarter.
Yep.
But they also don't want to feel like if they don't back on Kickstarter that they'll never be able to get anything. And I think that they're taking a really measured approach to kind of hit on both of those things, where it's free and it's cheaper early, but it will still exist later. So it's not like completely, FOMO.
And that's good to know, because I think, this game has got a lot of life in it, obviously with the modular expansions that you can put in and the other stuff that's going to be in the development pipeline as well. I think that if people back this game and do go out and back this game, the link will be in the description below, then, this game will have a lot of life. And I think one of the really good things about, just moving away purely from the solo mode about Endless Winter, the Paleoamericans as a game, is it's not that difficult a game to learn. Like all kind of worker placement and Euro type games, you think they're going to be complex, but it's not difficult to learn. And I can see this game appealing to lots and lots of kind of age groups, basically from maybe 9 years old plus, if not a little bit younger than that. But it will still provide a really good scalable challenge for all the age groups. I think is a work of art as a kind of as a Euro game, and it feels. I mean, this is Fantasia Games' first game, yeah, and it feels like a game that is way down in a company's canon. It feels like they've cut their teeth on lots of games before getting here. It's hard to believe that this is actually the first game. I'm so looking forward to what Fantasia Games do in the future, and also what this gentleman does right here, because I think the only other game you got your solo mode you got your name to is Merchants Co, which is going out to backers, I think, at the moment. So this is your it's going out soon, sorry, yeah. Endless Winter Paleoamericans is like the first, the next big release from there, and it's only Drake's second published solo mode that he's putting his name to like this. I mean, I cannot wait to find out what other stuff you've got going on, Drake. What's in the pipeline?
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll see me around on the channel. I've got other projects, other solo modes, stuff like that, and I like to be a part of the community. I like to make sure that I'm interacting with the people, because the solo community is like board gamers. I tend to think of as a very educated niche of consumers. Like, there's not a lot of board gamers who just buy without thinking. I mean, people do buy a lot, but they're really eyeing their purchases for these types of things. And even within that niche, I think the solo game community is extra sort of in tune with what's good. Word gets around quick, so I definitely not only want to tap into that community, but to be a part of it and make sure that, like, I want these things to be good. I don't want anything to come out and feel like, my pants are down and it's like, oh no, why didn't you do this one thing? So I definitely make sure and do all my research. I check out what solo games are like really revered, and I also look at popular games and how the solo failed. But I also love reading reviews and seeing like exactly why people think these things failed.
Yeah,
and that's sort of how I curated my personal style for these things, was looking off of what are people looking for. They want an AI to play against. They want variability from game to game. They want scalable difficulty, but they also want to not feel like things are just random.
Yep.
And personally, I don't really like playing a different game. Like, there are some ones that make you adapt your strategy because there's only certain ways to beat the AI.
Yeah.
But then there's other games that just straight up change how the game is played.
Absolutely.
And that can be okay if there's no other way to do it. But it's not my preference.
And it's not necessarily the reason that attracted people to the game in the first place. Now, and I take that, and I can think of a few off the top of my head, which I won't mention, where the solo comes in. You read the main rule book, and then you read the solo rule book, and they say, right, forget 90% of these rules, this is how it's going to work. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily work out this way. Whereas I can see, and as we discussed, this really integrates into the core game. I could take what I've learnt now, put it into the core game. No actions are really missing, etc. Excuse me, right. So it really, really works for me. So no, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So pleased that you allowed me the opportunity to play this game before it launches on Kickstarter on the 27th of October. Look, Drake, once again, thank you so much for speaking with me, so much for playing Endless Winter Paleoamericans with me today, and the previous couple of times when the technology didn't work out so well. Thank you very much, Not Board Gamers, for joining me on this very special playthrough. As I mentioned, Endless Winter Paleoamericans by Fantasia Games launches on Kickstarter on the 27th of October. Make sure you follow the link below, follow the link that will come up in in a wee while on the screen. Go and back this Kickstarter because it's one that you're not going to miss. Going to want to miss, should I say. So thank you very much for joining me on Not Board Gaming. Do remember you can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. That's always Not Board Gaming, BORED. And one final thought, if you can't find anybody else to play with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.